Chapter 192. Lin Yuan pondered for a while and gave up the option of awakening an exclusive skill, possession, like Xiaofan. Awakening an exclusive skill, possession, was the same as awakening an exclusive special type tool transformation. It was a very rare exclusive skill that could only be encountered. If Lin Yuan enhanced a large number of phase, it was not impossible to awaken an exclusive skill, possession, at bronze. However, given Lin Yuan's current spiritual energy, he could not contract a bronze fei. His remaining spiritual energy was not enough to contract a bronze fei. Therefore, Lin Yuan knew that if he wanted to have the ability to protect himself, he could only choose to contract a source-type life form that could defend himself very well. However, source-type lifeforms were very precious, not to mention that each source-type lifeform had different abilities. Therefore, source-type lifeforms that could increase one's self-protection ability had always been encountered. Even if Lin Yuan encountered one, putting aside whether he could afford the price, it was still unknown whether he could meet the conditions of contracting a source-type lifeform that could increase one's self-protection ability. Lin Yuan had only decided on the direction now. As for obtaining a source-type lifeform that could increase one's self-protection ability, he still needed to think about it at length. After Lin Yuan finished the duel on the 100th floor of the Star Tower, he did not log out of Star Web. Instead, he clicked on the message bar that he had never clicked on but kept flashing non-stop. The reason Lin Yuan had never checked the Star Web messages for his identity as Black was that he did not know anyone with this identity. He only knew Zhang Xiaobai, Xiaofan, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran, and they usually contacted each other through mobile phones instead of on Star Web. Therefore, Lin Yuan did not think that there would be any important messages that he needed to reply to as Black. However, he would look at the message bar from time to time when he logged in as a creation master. Every time he logged in, he felt that the people in the Purchase with No Loss Stores fan club were true warriors. Otherwise, there would not have been nearly 10,000 messages within a day or two. Lin Yuan already felt that nearly 10,000 messages were a lot, but when he clicked on the message bar of his identity as Black, he was dumbfounded. There were simply too many messages. Lin Yuan counted and found that there were actually 6 digits of messages. This was hundreds of thousands of messages. It had been less than 5 days since he logged into the Star Tower and climbed it as Black. Lin Yuan looked at the messages he had received and found that the first message at the top of his message bar was actually from the Star Web officials. When he clicked on it, the Star Web officials hoped that he could start a Star Web livestream and accept an exclusive interview. At the same time, there was a contact below the message. Tian Ningning. Without thinking, Lin Yuan turned off the Star Web's official news. Lin Yuan did not intend to start a Star Web live stream, nor did he want to be interviewed. If he had wanted to be interviewed, he would have been interviewed by Ascending Dragon Cities and Star Web's reporters in Millstone Town. He would not have chosen to leave with Xiaofan and the others. After closing the Star Web official news, Lin Yuan looked down. He realized that the next message was from Tian Ningning, the reporter who had interviewed him, as mentioned in the Star Web's official news. Lin Yuan clicked on it and realized that this Star Web reporter named Tian Ningning had been sending him messages since yesterday morning. She had already sent nearly 20 messages. Lin Yuan did not expect this Star Web reporter named Tian Ningning to be so persistent in interviewing him. Lin Yuan scrolled down a few more messages and found that there were even a few guild clubs that wanted to recruit him into their team. Among them, there was even a B guild club that hoped that he could go to their guild club's base for an interview. After the interview, arrangements would be made according to his situation. Lin Yuan did not even think about it and rejected it in his heart. Lin Yuan had already thought about forming a guild club, but he had not been firm about it. Otherwise, he would not have bought such a large piece of land without hesitation. Therefore, Lin Yuan could not agree to join someone else's guild club. The main purpose of joining a guild club was to play in the S tournament. If Lin Yuan really wanted to play in the S tournament, he could form his own guild club and form a team. The messages in the star web message bar were subtly sorted. In order to prevent the official news and guild club news from being missed, they would all be pinned. After roughly reading these pinned messages, Lin Yuan felt that these pinned messages were mostly the same. They were either interviewing him or hoping to interview him to join the guild club. Out of boredom, Lin Yuan glanced at the messages that weren't pinned, and he couldn't help but raise his brows when he saw them. No more sadness, Lord Black, can you take off your mask and privately send me a photo? If you think you look ugly, just pretend that I didn't say anything. Bye, Black, I want to give birth to your children. Yu Meng and Luo Yu, hubby, what do you like to eat? As long as you tell me the address, I will buy food for you every day. Find yourself, Black, I will never forgive you in this lifetime. My girlfriend broke up with me because I am not your fan. Do as you see fit. Freehand, Lin Yuan could not help but break out in a waterfall of sweat. What are these messages? When did I get married? I don't even have a girlfriend, so why are people calling me hubby? Also, what does your girlfriend breaking up with you have to do with me? I am not the one breaking up with you. What Lin Yuan was most concerned about was that full stop, as he felt that there was a hidden meaning behind it. After looking through it, Lin Yuan cleared his message bar. He then set up the permissions to refuse to accept messages from anyone. Then, Lin Yuan logged off the star web. However, Lin Yuan did not know that he had just finished his 100th duel, and the Star Tower's winning streak list had updated his winning streak. Lin Yuan's identity, Black, had only fought 100 duels from the Star Tower's first floor to the 100th floor, and he had a 100% winning rate. Such a result might not be unbeatable, but at least it was unprecedented for the time being. In fact, Lin Yuan had already broken the Star Web's winning streak record, but the shock of winning 99 duels and winning 100 duels was different. 99 duels in a row was like a perfect painting that had a corner torn off, while 100 duels in a row was like patching up the corner of the perfect painting and making it truly perfect. Black's previous reputation mostly came from the heroic act of resisting the Pinnacle Class 1 alien insect dimensional rift in Millstone Town. Afterward, he had been in the limelight due to exposing his talent while climbing the tower. But now, Black, who had reached the 100th floor of the Star Tower with a 100% win rate and qualified for the promotion duel, was still inferior to the Radiant's 100 sequence members. Although his reputation was still inferior to the Radiant's 100 sequence members, he was already not much different from those celebrity contestants in the S tournament. However, Lin Yuan was not aware of all this. After logging off the Star Web with Black's identity, Lin Yuan logged back on the Star Web with his Creation Master identity. He hung the silver usnias that he had enhanced during this period in his store. This time, Lin Yuan set up the purchase authorization for the 10 pots of silver usnias. Although it was still first come, first served, each person could only buy 1 pot. In less than 3 minutes, Lin Yuan suddenly realized that the 10 pots of silver usnias that he had just put on the shelves were already sold out. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 193. When the 10 pots of silver usnias that he had just put on the shelves were sold out, Lin Yuan realized that his purchase with No Loss Stores fan club was also in an uproar. Lin Yuan couldn't help but sigh. The members of his fan club were really too fast. The silver usnias in Lin Yuan's store were sold out in just 3 minutes. However, the news of purchase with No Loss Store selling silver usnias still spread, and it instantly caused Lin Yuan's store's reputation to explode. Lin Yuan's price for the silver usnias was not low. Lin Yuan's price for the silver usnias was similar to the Star Tower's rare life-form pavilion. However, silver usnias were simply too rare. Even in the Star Tower's rare life-form pavilion, very few people would choose to auction silver usnias. After all, if the silver usnias' branches were cut and nurtured, they could quickly grow into elite usnias. Elite usnias were already quite expensive. It could be said that a silver usnia was a hen that could lay eggs. Lin Yuan didn't care about the popularity of the store after he added the new silver usnias. In any case, his star web store wouldn't have new especially precious phase in the future. However, the grades of usnias and spirit siphon goldfish would only get higher and higher. In a high-class office building in the Radiance Federation's royal capital, a short-haired but abnormally cute woman was sitting there sullenly. He held a pen in his hand and pressed it in boredom, causing the pen to squeak. At this time, the colleague next to the cute short-haired girl walked over and said, "Ningning, hasn't He replied to you yet?" The cute short-haired woman nodded and said, "There's still no news, but I'm looking at the Star Tower's winning streak list. Black's winning streak keeps increasing." He patted Tian Ningning's shoulder and said, "Ningning, there are so many news to write on the Star Web. You don't have to be so stubborn. If Black is unwilling, you can find someone else to interview. Isn't it the same?" Tian Ningning shook her head and pouted stubbornly. "Sister Feng, I still want to interview Black. I think he has potential." Tian Ningning felt conflicted. Tian Ningning was assigned Star Web special column reporter, and there were less than 300 special column reporters in the entire Star Web. It could be said that every Star Web special columnist had a large amount of traffic resources on Star Web. As for Tian Ningning, she had officially passed the test at the beginning of the year and became a Star Web special columnist reporter. After becoming a special columnist reporter for Star Web for a year, Tian Ningning had written plenty of excellent news, but she hadn't found the person she really wanted to interview. Tian Ningning actually had a lot of good opportunities this year. Not long ago, a former sequence member who had been eliminated from the Radiance 100 sequence had started a live broadcast at the Star Tower. He wanted to hire a special columnist who had signed a contract with the Star Tower to be his exclusive reporter. The former sequence member who had been eliminated from the Radiance 100 sequence had looked for Tian Ningning in private. He wanted Tian Ningning to be his exclusive reporter, but Tian Ningning politely rejected him. Because an exclusive reporter was a very special existence. If Tian Ningning signed a contract with someone else and became an exclusive reporter, from then on, Tian Ningning could only write about the person who signed the contract with her. The person who signed the contract with Tian Ningning could only let Tian Ningning write about them. Therefore, such a relationship made Tian Ningning choose very carefully. It was only when Black appeared that Tian Ningning wanted to take the initiative to interview him. But now, Tian Ningning felt that her rare passion was directly faced with the most realistic problem. The person she wanted to interview, Black, did not reply to her message. At that moment, Tian Ningning suddenly heard footsteps coming from the door. She saw her superior walking in. Just as Tian Ningning was about to go forward and speak, she realized that her superior was heading straight for her. "Tian Ningning, did you get Black's exclusive interview?" Tian Ningning shook her head in frustration and heard her superior say, "Black Star Tower has 100 consecutive victories. Black Star Tower has a 100-game winning streak. He went from the first floor with a 100% win rate to the 100th floor and qualified for the Celestial Stairway promotion competition. Go and follow up with him. If you still can't get the interview rights in 3 days, I'll get someone else to follow him." Tian Ningning was not particularly surprised when she heard that Black had a 100% win rate to the 100th floor. This was because Tian Ningning had already thought of this possibility when she was preparing to interview Black. But when she really heard this news, Tian Ningning made up her mind and made a decision. "Boss, if I get Black's exclusive interview, I want to apply to be Black's exclusive reporter." Tian Ningning's superior was stunned. Tian Ningning had just finished speaking when she felt Sister Feng, who was beside her, pull her. After a while, Tian Ningning heard her superior say, "If this is your own wish, then you just need to get Black's permission." If this is your own will, then as long as you get Black's permission, I can consider it. After her superior left, Tian Ningning turned around and saw Sister Feng looking at her exasperatedly. Ningning, with your ability, you can totally fight to become the exclusive reporter for the Radiance 100 sequence members. No matter how famous Black is, he has yet to climb the celestial stairway, and he has never shown his true face. How much of his fame now comes from heroism and mystery? You should know better than me. Most importantly, do you know how old Tower's face is behind the mask? Tian Ningning smiled sweetly, revealing 2 small dimples. I know Sister Feng is concerned about me, but I believe in my intuition. Sister Feng could not help but be furious. Ningning, this year's Radiance 100 sequence is going to be ranked again. Why don't you wait until after the Radiance 100 sequences ranking to get in touch with the newly selected Radiance 100 sequence members? It's better than becoming Black's exclusive reporter. Tian Ningning smiled and shook her head. Sister Feng, I'll go to Star Web to see if Black has replied. After speaking, Tian Ningning logged into Star Web to see if Black had replied to her. After logging in, Tian Ningning was disappointed to find that Black still had not replied to a single message. Tian Ningning did not give up and sent another message, but she realized that her message could not be sent. It was obvious that Black had set the authority to refuse to accept messages from anyone. Tian Ningning immediately became worried. What should I do? In the end, Tian Ningning gritted her teeth and thought to herself. I don't believe that I can't see Black in person. Black should be friends with the 4 members of the Extreme Guild Club's tournament reserve team. I'll go to the Extreme Guild Club and see if I can get a chance to talk to Black from the 4 members of the tournament reserve team. With that thought in mind, Tian Ningning logged off Star Web and exited the office building. She then rode her flying Fei to the Extreme Guild Club's address. Lin Yuan, who had logged off Star Web, was enhancing Fei's. Lin Yuan was enhancing the 3 small fish that he had caught at the cold pool. Even though Lin Yuan was experienced and knowledgeable, he was shocked by the Fei he had enhanced and could not help but exclaim. This thing is too precious. How can such a mascot be enhanced? Baidu went to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 194. He had seen these 3 small fish by the pool in the depths of the endless forest and found them familiar, so he had subconsciously used true data to check. If he had not subconsciously checked, he would not have brought these 3 small fish back. These 3 small fish looked gray and only half a finger long, so they were really inconspicuous in the water. However, under true data, Lin Yuan found that they were actually the legendary myriad form carps. Lin Yuan was actually not unfamiliar with the myriad form carps, as there were many in the pool in the center of the garden outside the Radiant Moon Palace. However, the fish in the pool in the center of the garden outside the Radiant Moon Palace were not ordinary myriad form carps, but famous koi species that had evolved from myriad form carps. As the name suggested, the myriad form carp was a kind of carp that could evolve into various kinds of koi under the catalysis of various spiritual ingredients and spirit chi. Koi were considered a kind of mascot because they were always linked to good luck. Therefore, the Radiance Federation often regarded koi as the most inferior auspicious sign. However, this inferior auspicious sign only referred to ordinary koi phase. The koi in the pool in the center of the Radiant Moon Palace's garden were not like this. The pine snow falling cherry koi, the golden mountain blowing koi, and the 9-pattern dragon koi swimming in the pool in the center of the Radiant Moon Palace's garden were all top-notch koi. Each of these famous koi species had extremely complicated catalysis methods with spiritual ingredients and spirit chi, and they were all different. In fact, the spiritual ingredients used might even be hard to find. Take the pine snow falling cherry koi for example. The pine snow falling cherry koi's body was red and white, but it was not a big gap between the red and white. Instead, it was like a rain of cherry blossoms had fallen on the white snow. The cherry blossoms falling on the fish had a kind of aesthetic layering. It was as though some cherry blossoms had been buried deep in the white snow, some had only fallen on the surface of the white snow, and some were still dancing in the cold snow, unwilling to fall. In addition, the pine snow falling cherry koi's red and white body had clear pine needle patterns, making it look abnormally beautiful. The Songshua sakura koi swam in the water like pine needles and cold snow mixed together, and the falling cherry blossoms suddenly warm up. It was as if a rain of cherry blossoms had bloomed in the extreme coldness of the water. In the Radiance Federation, these famous koi species in the center of the Radiance Moon Palace's garden pool were no longer a question of whether one could obtain them with money. Many people from affluent clans who loved koi fays might not even be able to see them once in their lifetime. Even though he was used to seeing the famous koi species in the Radiant Moon Palace's central pond, he was still amazed by the 3 koi that he had evolved in the Spirit Lock spatial zone. Lin Yuan had not expected the 3 myriad-formed carps to evolve into such a true auspicious creature after today's enhancement. It was a superior auspicious sign. He used true data to check on the 3 myriad-formed carps and found that they had evolved into Dragon Phoenix landscape carps. Each of the 3 Dragon Phoenix landscape carps was close to a meter long. Of course, this meter referred to the fish's body. The Dragon Phoenix landscape carp had an elegant fishtail that was even longer than its body. The Dragon Phoenix landscape carp's fins had also turned into an elegant form that was half a meter long. However, this elegant, half-meter-long fin was supported by a fin bone, and it did not look messy at all, only infinitely elegant. Lin Yuan placed the 3 Dragon Phoenix landscape carps in the spirit pool. The swimming posture of the 3 Dragon Phoenix landscape carps in the spirit pool was not like they were swimming in the water, but like they were soaring recklessly. They spread their fins like a phoenix and swung their tails like a dragon, and their postures were extremely spirited. Of course, this was not the most impressive aspect of the Dragon Phoenix landscape carps. The fins and tails were similar to both dragons and phoenixes, and they were just like dragons and phoenixes. However, the Dragon Phoenix landscape carp's snow-white bodies were dyed with painting. The painting was like a few drops of pine smoke entering the ink, and the ink entering the clear pool. The rippling ink in the clear pool drew 10,000 miles of mountains and rivers. The mountains and rivers merged into a scene, and the mountains and rivers outlined the outline. The pavilions and terraces were all myriad phenomena, and the myriad phenomena gathered in the outline to form the magnificent scenery of mountains and rivers. The flora and fauna decorated the magnificent scenery with various colors, and the Dragon Phoenix landscape carps had painted the beautiful scenery of mountains and rivers on their bodies. The beautiful mountains and rivers didn't remain stationary on the Dragon Phoenix landscape carp's body. As the carp swam, the painting on its body was constantly changing. The changes might be very slow, but if one looked carefully, one would realize that the Dragon Phoenix landscape carp's bodies were like endless changes of mountains and rivers. In the mortal world of mountains and rivers, all sorts of amorous feelings were on one carp, and such a carp was the Dragon Phoenix landscape carp. But if that was the case, even if the beautiful scenery of mountains and rivers converged into one carp, the carp would still not be considered a superior auspicious sign. In fact, the exclusive skill that the Dragon Phoenix landscape carps had awakened was the key for Lin Yuan to define them as superior auspicious signs. Place of life, a place where vegetation will not wither, and the water will not freeze. Under the protection of the place of life, all living things will grow in the most comfortable environment and be far away from diseases. Since ancient times, people had always been debating what auspicious signs were, and their definitions of auspicious signs were also different. Plums, orchids, bamboos, and chrysanthemums were elegant and not considered auspicious signs. The osmanthus had a delicate fragrance that added a touch of nobility and could detoxify. Therefore, after the spirit chi awakening, it was understandable to treat the osmanthus as a kind of inferior auspicious sign. However, As lifeforms continued to evolve after being immersed in spirit qi, many rare and exotic beasts, such as dragon-like snakes, phoenix-like birds, red-crowned cranes, and turtles, were no longer considered true auspicious signs. Therefore, people were now having more and more disputes about auspicious signs, and their judgment of auspicious signs was also getting harsher. Because of this, the price of auspicious lifeforms was also getting more and more precious. However, since ancient times, the definition of true auspicious signs had never changed, and that was that being born auspicious would definitely be able to protect lifeforms. The Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp's exclusive skill had indeed achieved the meaning of protecting lifeforms and setting the beautiful scenery of mountains and rivers. Lin Yuan had only enhanced the 3 Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carps that were swimming in the Spirit Pool to Bronze X/Epic. Therefore, this exclusive skill, Place of Life, could not unleash much power. If these 3 Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carps were raised in Lin Yuan's mansion, they would also be able to guarantee that the vegetation within a 3-kilometer radius would be protected by the Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp's exclusive skill, Place of Life. The Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp's exclusive skill, Place of Life, would also be able to guarantee that the vegetation within a 3-kilometer radius outside the mansion would be protected by the Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp's exclusive skill, Place of Life. The air in the royal capital was rather dry and not as humid as the air in Redbud City. Therefore, it was relatively unsuitable for fays like bamboo that liked humidity to grow. If when you had not buried 250,000 caddies of high-grade energy ores in the 3,000 meters of bamboo forest behind the mansion, the leaves of the bamboo would probably have fallen off due to the dry air. However, with the Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp's exclusive skill, Place of Life, even if it was midwinter in the future, the vegetation in the mansion would still be lush and green all year round. The water in the artificial lake would also not freeze, and the waves would still be clear and crystalline. At that moment, a Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp suddenly jumped out of the water. That sudden posture was like a flood dragon coming out and a young phoenix breaking through the clouds. Lin Yuan looked at this Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp that had suddenly jumped out of the water. He felt that the moment this Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp jumped out of the water, a corner of the painting on the Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp's body suddenly changed. That corner of the mountain and river that was outlined by the painting suddenly turned into a calm river. When looking at this scene of the beautiful changes on the Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp's body, Lin Yuan suddenly fell into a wonderful state. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 195. Lin Yuan suddenly felt as though a vast landscape of mountains and rivers had suddenly appeared in front of him. The mountains, rivers, valleys, and oceans were all changing in the vicissitudes of time. Lin Yuan looked at the Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp that had leaped out of the water. It was as though this glance was 10,000 years old. However, when he returned to his senses, he looked at the time. He realized that only a blink of an eye had passed. At that moment, Lin Yuan sensed a willpower rune that seemed to have an appropriate layer of ink and was flowing and changing in the pure white. It was a myriad form rune. Lin Yuan couldn't help but touch the back of his head. How did I comprehend a willpower rune just by looking at this Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp that jumped out of the water? He had heard others say that it was very difficult to comprehend a willpower rune, but he did not have such a feeling now. Lin Yuan recalled that he had comprehended a willpower rune from watching the green mountain grow green even after it had been burned by raging flames. Once this willpower rune fused with the jasmine lily and advanced it into a fantasy breed, it would be considered used. The second willpower rune was comprehended when he watched the wolves kill the alien insects under the night sky. Lin Yuan had long been eyeing Red Thorn for this willpower rune. The third willpower rune was the one he had comprehended day and night on the back of the blue jade Pegasus when he went to the Imperial City with Ling Xiao. This Yin Yang willpower rune didn't have a fei that Lin Yuan fancied yet. The fourth willpower rune was the Twilight rune that he had comprehended when he had seen the dawn outside Millstone Town. This Twilight rune had fused with Chimey, allowing it to transform into a fantasy breed Twilight Starbird. It could be considered to have been used. This Myriad Form rune was the fifth willpower rune he had comprehended. The acquisition of this Myriad Form willpower rune made Lin Yuan fall into contemplation. Among his fays, the Spirit Gather Goldfish, Blue Flash Purple Butterfly, and Genius didn't have a suitable willpower rune. This Wanxiang willpower rune had an all-encompassing feeling, and it looked like it could be used with anything. The Spirit Gather Goldfish and the Blue Flash Purple Butterfly were both compatible with this Wanxiang rune. However, if he were to choose from Genius, the Spirit Gather Goldfish, and the Blue Flash Purple Butterfly, he would have to choose from the Spirit Gather Goldfish. It was obvious that Genius was more suitable for this willpower rune. This was because Wanxiang itself had the meaning of encompassing everything, just like the wisdom of intelligence. However, after Lin Yuan carefully comprehended this Myriad Form willpower rune, he realized that it was a Myriad Form willpower rune. Lin Yuan realized that the Myriad Form willpower rune was not a perfect match for Genius. This was because the manifestation of the Myriad Manifestation willpower rune referred more to changes in form and not knowledge. If someone else comprehended a willpower rune and had something in common with their fae, they would probably be happy to use it immediately. However, when it came to his contracted phase, especially Genius, which had accompanied him since the beginning, Lin Yuan didn't want to be careless in his choice of willpower runes. In his opinion, if his fae wanted to evolve into a fantasy breed, it would have to be matched with the most suitable willpower rune. If other spirit chi professionals knew of Lin Yuan's thoughts, they would probably kneel on the ground and call him a big shot. The comprehension of willpower runes simply couldn't be controlled. Every comprehension of willpower runes was a gift from nature after all. It was always unknown what kind of willpower rune one comprehended. Therefore, after most spirit chi professionals comprehended a willpower rune, they would look for a high-quality bronze fae that was compatible with their comprehended willpower rune and nurture it again. However, high-quality bronze faes were already very rare. Therefore, it was considered great luck for most spirit chi professionals to be able to encounter a high-quality bronze fae that was slightly compatible with their willpower rune. Not everyone could think of perfecting the perfect combination of faes and willpower runes like Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan was rather helpless as he didn't know when Red Thorn would evolve into legend. Therefore, he couldn't use the willpower rune he had comprehended from the massacre for now. The Yin-Yang willpower rune he had comprehended from the alternation of day and night and the Myriad Form willpower rune he had comprehended from the Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp might be two completely different willpower runes, but they were fundamentally related to change. However, as of now, Lin Yuan didn't have a fae or source-type life form that was related to change to match these two willpower runes. Lin Yuan couldn't help but mutter. Having too many willpower runes is truly a sweet trouble. Previously, other combat class spirit chi professionals would have knelt down and called him a big shot. Lin Yuan looked at the 3 bronze/epic Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carps in the spirit pool and had a plan in his heart. Lin Yuan looked at the 3 bronze/epic Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carps in the spirit pool and had a plan in his heart. Lin Yuan didn't plan to contract these 3 Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carps and had a plan in his heart. Lin Yuan didn't plan to contract these 3 Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carps, nor would he sell them. He planned to raise these 3 Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carps in his mansion. If he relied on the Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp's exclusive skill, Place of Life, he probably wouldn't need to take care of the flowers and plants in his mansion anymore. Lin Yuan made a decision in his heart. When Lin Yuan's spirit chi professional rank increased, he would evolve these 3 Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carps from bronze/epic to bronze/legend. For this kind of top-notch auspicious sign that could protect the living beings of a region, Lin Yuan planned to help them walk on a path to naturally evolve into fantasy breeds. Of course, with Lin Yuan around, these three dragon phoenix landscape carps didn't need to rely on themselves to increase their quality and grade. Lin Yuan could completely solve the problem of quality and grade. Therefore, the hurdle that these three dragon phoenix landscape carps needed to overcome was to see if they could comprehend a willpower rune when they reached Diamond X/Legend in the future and strive for suzerain. Of course, it was still too early to talk about this now. Lin Yuan stroked his chin and looked at these three dragon phoenix landscape carps. He pondered for a moment and exited the spirit lock spatial zone. Lin Yuan didn't plan to raise these three dragon phoenix landscape carps in the mansion's pond. Instead, he planned to keep the three dragon phoenix landscape carps in the mansion. This was because the dragon phoenix landscape carps looked at the changes of mountains and rivers on the fish's body. It was as though they were looking at three great worlds that were constantly changing. There was a saying that all kinds of colors couldn't compare to ink. These dragon phoenix landscape carps that swam with the elegance of dragons and phoenixes could only be observed and enjoyed by raising them in the mansion. It just so happened that this mansion had a total of 3 floors, and the kitchen, dining room, and living room were connected on the first floor. Therefore, there was no harm in setting up a fish tank that could be used as a wall scenery to separate the kitchen, dining room, and living room. Lin Yuan roughly measured the length of this scenery wall and found that it was about the same length as the fish tank that he had imagined. Lin Yuan planned to set up a fish tank that was 9 meters long and 2 meters wide as a scenery wall. 9 meters was just 1 inch short of perfection. It was not easy for one's life to be too perfect, so it would be more auspicious if it lacked that trace of perfection. This 2-meter-wide fish tank would also be able to allow these three dragon phoenix landscape carps to swim freely. This fish tank was used to raise these three dragon phoenix landscape carps. As for the water in the tank, it could be directly connected to the artificial lake outside. The dragon phoenix landscape carps originally had the ability to purify water. This way, the fish tank could be connected to the artificial lake in the mansion, and the artificial lake's water quality could also be improved perfectly. However, such a large fish tank was not readily available, and it needed to be custom-made. Right now, Lin Yuan's mansion was filled with an ancient feeling. Over the past few days, when you had purchased quite a number of matching utensils in this mansion, and it had a different flavor when paired with these jade-made furniture. Although Lin Yuan didn't have obsessive-compulsive disorder, he didn't want to use some abrupt things to destroy the overall beauty of this mansion. Therefore, Lin Yuan didn't intend to custom-make a large metal fish tank. As for the materials for the fish tank, Lin Yuan actually had a plan. Baiduan was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 196. There were still plenty of jade-textured wood materials in the Spirit Lock spatial zone. Among them were plenty of completely jade-textured red sandalwood. Lin Yuan had obtained these completely jade-textured red sandalwood when he had been cleaning up the Xia region's Fei store's backyard. When Lin Yuan had first taken over the Fei store, there had been a total of 6 shelves in the store. Later on, Lin Yuan had supported the store alone, and due to his body, there was only 1 shelf left. Lin Yuan had placed a large batch of red sandalwood in the Spirit Lock spatial zone after dismantling those 5 shelves. These red sandalwood had completely jade-textured red and purple like crystal jade, and there were faint red sandalwood patterns on it. These faint patterns made the jade-textured red sandalwood look as if it was faintly emitting a ball of faint purple qi, which had a hint of purple qi coming from the east. Lin Yuan felt that this completely jade-textured red sandalwood material had a very good meaning. These completely jade-textured red sandalwood materials were also worthy of the 3 superior auspicious creatures, the dragon phoenix landscape carps. At that moment, Wen Yu, who was in the mansion, was directing some gardeners who had been found from outside to do the greening of the mansion. They were planting some normal phase and decorating various parts of the mansion. There were 250,000 caddies of high-grade energy ores buried under the mansion's soil, and the Dragon Phoenix Landscape Carp's exclusive skill, Place of Life's protection. Perhaps after a period of time, these normal flowers and plants would have a chance to be promoted to elite grade. At that moment, Wuxia also went out to buy spiritual ingredients. Ever since Lin Yuan had placed that pot of white jade snow orchid in the kitchen, Wuxia especially liked to buy a bunch of spiritual ingredients and place them on the kitchen shelves. Anyway, with the white jade snow orchid, these spiritual ingredients would not go bad. Even if some plant-type spiritual ingredients had their roots broken, they would still be fresher. Lin Yuan called for a speed-hoofed donkey cart and headed for a very famous spirit craftsman store in the royal capital. Lin Yuan preferred to ride on the speed-hoofed donkey cart to travel through the royal capital on a flight-type fei. This was because the speed-hoofed donkey cart could let Lin Yuan see the prosperity and noise in the royal capital, feel the smoke of the world, and let his heart completely settle down. The speed-hoofed donkey cart's driver chatted enthusiastically with Lin Yuan along the way. The speed-hoofed donkey cart was traveling on the road when a young girl about Chu Xi's age suddenly ran to the side of the road and reached out to stop the cart. She looked especially anxious. The middle-aged driver of the speed-hoofed donkey cart turned to look at Lin Yuan, asking for his opinion. If there was a passenger on the speed-hoofed donkey cart, the driver would need to obtain the consent of the passenger if he wanted to pick up another passenger on the way. Lin Yuan naturally did not care and waved his hand. "Uncle, I have no objections." The driver of the speed-hoofed donkey cart was actually very willing to take on another passenger. That was because this was tantamount to earning more money. As soon as the speed-hoofed donkey cart stopped by the side of the street, the girl immediately got on the cart and thanked him. "Thank you, uncle." "Thank you, big brother." The girl was very cheerful. After getting on the speed-hoofed donkey cart, the anxious expression on her face disappeared. This section of the road wasn't easy to hail a cab, and even if one booked a cab on the star web, they would have to wait for a long time. Now that she managed to stop a car, the girl was naturally relieved. Lin Yuan saw that this young lady was carrying a frog-shaped backpack and thought that she should be a student. After the young lady thanked him, she immediately turned to Lin Yuan and requested, "Big brother, can you ask the driver to send me to the royal capital's Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy for lessons first? Mom was drunk last night and forgot to wake me up this morning." Lin Yuan didn't expect this young lady to actually be a student of the royal capital's Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy. The Royal Capital Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy was a subsidiary school of the Royal Capital Advanced Spirit Chi Academy. Normally, most students who graduated from the Royal Capital's Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy would be directly promoted to the Royal Capital's Advanced Spirit Chi Academy. "It's on the way. The place I'm going to pass by the Royal Capital's Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy." After saying that, Lin Yuan spoke to the middle-aged driver in front. "Driver, she seems to be in a hurry. Just send her to the Royal Capital's Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy's teaching building and send me back." The Royal Capital's Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy allowed speed-hoofed donkey carts that had been certified in the Royal Capital to enter. After all, the Royal Capital's Intermediate Spirit Chi Academy was huge. Therefore, students who rode the speed-hoofed donkey to school could be directly sent to the entrance of the teaching building. When the middle-aged driver heard Lin Yuan's words, he smiled honestly and replied, "I'm fine." "Young brother, you are such a good person." Lin Yuan couldn't help but be a little speechless. This shouldn't be considered a good person, right? He was just making things convenient for her. There would always be difficulties when going out in front of outsiders, and it was better to be considerate of each other. Why did this driver give me the good person card? Lin Yuan looked at the young lady sitting obediently beside him while holding the little frog backpack in her hand and pondering. This young lady had a rather quiet personality. Normally, quiet girls would be able to calm down when learning some theoretical knowledge. At that moment, the young lady's little frog backpack echoed with a phone call. The young lady took out her phone to take a look before answering the call. Her tone was flustered and exasperated as she yelled loudly. "Wang Pang Pang, you bastard! If you want to break up, then break up. Why did you use my account to scold my form teacher? Are you a sore loser?" Upon hearing this statement, Lin Yuan immediately dispelled his previous thoughts. How was this a quiet personality? Immediately after, Lin Yuan heard the young lady speaking again. "My mother drank too much, and at 9:30 p.m., she saw me looking at the spiritual ingredient analysis information and gave me a beating. The reason was that I was pretending. Let me tell you, Wang Pang Pang. I am in a very bad mood now. Once I reach the school, I will look for your form teacher and tell him that I was the one who helped you with your homework." Lin Yuan nearly burst out in laughter. The reason was that he was putting on an act, but it was still okay. They were only in middle school, and they were already dating. Furthermore, they were torturing each other. Youngsters nowadays were truly not simple. When the young lady arrived at the school building's entrance, she bade farewell to Lin Yuan and the driver. She then picked up the little frog backpack and rushed into the school building. Lin Yuan could not help but be speechless. This young lady's running speed was probably comparable to that of an elite blackback mountain boar. Soon enough, the speed-hoofed donkey cart sent Lin Yuan to his destination, which was a very famous spirit craftsman store in the royal capital. There were many types of spirit craftsmen. For example, Lin Yuan's manor had been constructed by a Class 4 spirit craftsman team according to the design. There were more spirit craftsmen who constructed buildings. As for those spirit craftsmen who created small furniture and ornaments, they were rather rare. This was because rough carving of spiritual ingredients was relatively simple. When carving an ornament, apart from having an exquisite shape, it was more important to focus on the expression, veins, and aura. The Class 4 spirit craftsman in this store that Lin Yuan had come to was a spirit craftsman who was adept at creating furniture and ornaments. However, the reviews for this spirit craftsman store on Star Web were very extreme. Among them, 1/10 of the people said that the items in this store were excellent. The remaining 9/10 of the people said that the store owner was a lunatic. Just as Lin Yuan was about to enter the store, he noticed two people walking out of the store. The two of them looked rather annoyed as they muttered under their breath. "What a lunatic." Lin Yuan finally knew where the 9/10 of the lunatic comments came from. When Lin Yuan walked into the store, he realized that the store's decorations were simply astounding. Lin Yuan wasn't sighing at how exquisite the store's construction was. It was because the store's construction was completely like a karaoke room. Baituan wanted to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 197. Lin Yuan couldn't help but sigh. What kind of foresight was required to design the store like this? Lin Yuan looked at the 7-colored chandelier that was flickering in the store during broad daylight. He couldn't help but want to say something to the burly man who was sitting on the recliner and reading a book with a wretched smile. "Gather at the village entrance. Bring your own cement." The burly man didn't even look at Lin Yuan, who had just walked in, and said out of habit, "Today's rule is to bring your own spiritual materials. Today's rule is to prepare your own spiritual materials. If the spiritual materials reach my standard, each carving will be 100 radiance dollars. If the spiritual materials can surpass the one I have, I'll carve it for you for free, but you have to leave the shavings as a reward." After speaking, the burly man raised his hand and placed an exceptionally exquisitely carved incense burner on the table. Lin Yuan had previously doubted the burly man's aesthetic standards, but when he saw this incense burner, he was immediately attracted by it. This incense burner's carving was simply too exquisite. The incense burner looked as though it was carved with thousands of red-crowned cranes spreading their wings. When the light shone on it, it was as though crane shadows were flying out of the incense burner. If this incense burner was lit with agarwood, white smoke would rise in spirals, and crane shadows would appear one after another. It would truly be considered an elegant matter. Lin Yuan didn't waste any time and took out a piece of completely jade-textured red sandalwood. This completely jade-textured red sandalwood emitted a faint reddish-purple luster as though it was wrapped in a bundle of purple qi. Just as Lin Yuan took out this completely jade-textured red sandalwood, the burly man who was reading a book immediately jumped up from the recliner and said, "This is actually a completely jade-textured red sandalwood. It's actually red sandalwood that's so completely jade-textured. Tell me, what do you want to carve?" Lin Yuan wasn't in a hurry to answer. Instead, he pointed at the crane-shadowed censer on the table and asked, "Senior, how many cuts did you use to carve this censer? Senior, how many knives did you use to carve this incense burner? Senior, how many cuts did you use to carve this censer?" "I used 30,000 cuts to carve this censer." While speaking, he even picked up the crane-shadowed censer and caressed it. It was obvious that he was very fond of this censer. Lin Yuan didn't expect the crane-shadowed censer to cost 3 million radiance dollars just for the carving process. 3 million radiance dollars wasn't a small sum, and it could be used to purchase an ordinary platinum fei. As expected of a 4-star spirit craftsman. The price of a single item was truly extraordinary. When the middle-aged man saw that Lin Yuan did not make a sound after hearing the price, he said, "You're right. If you use this completely jade-textured red sandalwood as a carving, then I can carve it for you for free. However, you have to leave the fragments of this jade-textured red sandalwood to me." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan shook his head. He still had other uses for these jade-textured red sandalwood fragments. If the jade-textured red sandalwood fish tank was built, carving on it would definitely produce a lot of debris. Lin Yuan felt that he would be at a disadvantage if he left all these fragments to the middle-aged man in front of him. Moreover, Lin Yuan was also planning to lay these completely jade-textured red sandalwood shavings at the bottom of the fish tank as decoration. He stretched out his hand and broke off half a fist-sized piece of the completely jade-textured red sandalwood in his hand. "I can give you such a large piece of jade-textured red sandalwood as a reward. What do you think?" The middle-aged man's eyes could not help but twitch when Lin Yuan broke the completely jade-textured red sandalwood. If it weren't for the fact that this completely jade-textured red sandalwood didn't belong to him, the middle-aged man would probably beat him up. In the eyes of spirit craftsmen, the bigger the material, the more exquisite the design. On the other hand, the small size of the material has a lot of constraints on the design of the shape. The middle-aged man naturally had no objections to Lin Yuan's remuneration. Even though the middle-aged burly man was a class 4 spirit craftsman and had money, he had to rely on luck to obtain such completely jade-textured red sandalwood. This kind of thing had always been used up. Most of the materials on the market were finished products that had already been sculpted. It was rare to see this kind of completely unsculpted material. As for this half-fist-sized piece of jade-textured red sandalwood, it was carved with 2 eans. Zhang was not a problem. Although the middle-aged burly man felt that the remuneration given by the youth in front of him was a little too much, he would not refuse. But soon, the middle-aged burly man knew why he would get so much remuneration. It was simply a big project. When Lin Yuan saw the burly man nod, he took out the large amount of completely jade-textured red sandalwood that had been placed in the diamond face storage box in advance. At that moment, even if the middle-aged burly man was knowledgeable and had carved countless rare spiritual materials in his life, he could not help but feel dizzy. When he saw the large amount of completely jade-textured red sandalwood that filled almost 1/5 of the small store, he could not help but feel dizzy. If he had not held the table, he would have sat back down on the reclining chair. So much completely jade-textured red sandalwood was taken out together to cover the colorful chandelier on the ceiling, causing the entire room to seem to be dyed with a pool of purple air. After a long while, the middle-aged burly man came back to his senses, but he could not say a word for a long time. Lin Yuan explained his requirements for the fish tank to the middle-aged burly man. Then, he weighed the large amount of completely jade-textured red sandalwood with the middle-aged burly man and signed the relevant agreement. For such a precious spiritual material like the completely jade-textured red sandalwood, the signed agreement was very strict. Therefore, Lin Yuan was not afraid that this class for spirit craftsmen would not follow the agreement and embezzle his spiritual materials. If this class for spirit craftsmen embezzled his spiritual materials, the outcome that awaited him would not just be being evaluated as a lunatic by 90% of the people on Star Web. Instead, he would be utterly discredited. At the same time, he would be held accountable and severely punished. Lin Yuan had a lot of requirements for the red sandalwood fish tank, so he had a detailed discussion with the middle-aged man. The more Lin Yuan looked at the crane shadow incense cauldron, the more he felt that the crane shadows were very exquisite, so he said to the middle-aged man, "That's right." He said to the middle-aged burly man, "Senior, do you intend to sell this crane shadow sensor?" If someone had asked this before, this middle-aged burly man would probably have beaten that person up. This crane shadow sensor was a favorite item that this middle-aged burly man had created when he had just become a class 4 spirit craftsman. But now that he saw so much completely jade-textured red sandalwood, the middle-aged burly man could not help but waver. He gritted his teeth and said, "Give me another huge piece of completely jade-textured red sandalwood, and you can have this sensor." Lin Yuan picked up the crane shadow sensor and took a look. He realized that this sensor was made of dragon blood golden silk bamboo, which was not completely jade-textured. It had to be said that the crane carving on the dragon blood golden silk bamboo was very artistic. The crane perched under the bamboo forest and leisurely returned with its shadow. The dragon blood golden silk bamboo was also a type of wood that was much more precious than the red sandalwood. In terms of value, this crane shadow sensor carved from the dragon blood golden silk bamboo was not as precious as the completely jade-textured red sandalwood of the same size. However, the difference in price was not too big. Lin Yuan could see that this class for spirit craftsmen was hesitant about selling this crane shadow sensor. Lin Yuan knew that if he hesitated, this middle-aged burly man might change his mind, and he would not be able to get this crane shadow sensor. Lin Yuan did not forget the lesson of buying the butterfly cocoon. Therefore, he made a prompt decision and completed the transaction. This crane shadow sensor carved from the dragon blood golden silk bamboo might not be completely jade-textured, but it was a piece of cake for Lin Yuan. As long as this crane shadow sensor was placed in the spirit lock spatial zone for a period of time, this crane shadow sensor carved from the dragon blood golden silk bamboo would change its appearance. After Lin Yuan made an appointment with this middle-aged burly man, he left his address. This middle-aged burly man would send this fish tank to Lin Yuan's residence in half a month. After Lin Yuan completed his plan to go out, he immediately returned to the mansion. Next, Lin Yuan was going to challenge the promotion duel after climbing the 100th level of the Star Tower. 21166 Reading Network. Chapter 198. When Lin Yuan returned to the mansion, he found Wen Yu holding a kettle and watering the earth rush golden lotus planted in the flower bed in front of the mansion. This earth rush golden lotus was not a fey planted to decorate the courtyard. In fact, this earth rush golden lotus was a source-type life-form that Wen Yu had contracted. Wen Yu originally did not have a source-type earth rush golden lotus, but after she became Lin Yuan's assistant, the Moon Empress had wanted Wen Yu to better help Lin Yuan. In order for Wen Yu to better help Lin Yuan, even if she could not help much, it would be good to help take care of the mansion. Therefore, she had given this precious source-type earth rush golden lotus to Wen Yu. This silver/flawless source-type Earth Rush Golden Lotus could be said to be an excellent helper for creation masters. However, the Earth Rush Golden Lotus had a habit, and that was to bask in the sun for 6 hours a day. This was because the Earth Rush Golden Lotus could only grow well under the sun for 6 hours. If it did not bask in the sun for 6 hours, the Earth Rush Golden Lotus would be listless. For example, Lin Yuan had enhanced the bronze/epic white jade snow orchid and his silver/fantasy jasmine lily. These plants did not have a particularly high requirement for light. The indoor scattered light was enough to satisfy the needs of the bronze/epic white jade snow orchid and the silver/fantasy jasmine lily. Recently, Lin Yuan did not release all his fays and let them live in the mansion. The silver/fantasy jasmine lily and chimey, as well as the bronze 4/epic red thorn, were currently in a stage where they needed to evolve and raise their grades. Therefore, Lin Yuan placed the silver/fantasy jasmine lily and chimey in the spirit lock spatial zone. The high concentration of spirit chi in the spirit lock spatial zone could allow the silver/fantasy jasmine lily and chimey to evolve continuously. As for red thorn, Lin Yuan placed it in the leaf-shaped diamond face storage box. He would let red thorn choose a dimensional life form that it liked to consume a large amount of flesh and blood energy to promote its evolution. Red thorn was currently the fey that he could not do anything about and was the slowest to evolve. Red thorn's evolution was much slower than the silver/fantasy breed chimey and the silver/fantasy breed jasmine lily. Take the silver/fantasy breed chimey and the silver/fantasy breed jasmine lily as an example. If he wanted to, he could always upgrade chimey and jasmine lily from silver I to silver II in a few months of seclusion. However, red thorn could only rely on itself to absorb a large amount of flesh and blood energy to evolve. In fact, red thorn's evolution speed was the same as a normal phase evolution speed. However, red thorn's evolution speed should be faster than other spirit chi professionals' phase. It was much faster. This was because at the very least, red thorn didn't need to worry about the large amount of energy from the flesh and blood of dimensional creatures. Red thorn was now consuming large amounts of Class 1 dimensional lifeforms' flesh and a small amount of Class 2 and Class 3 dimensional lifeforms' flesh. A Class 3 dimensional lifeform's flesh was already equivalent to a gold phase flesh. This way, red thorn's daily food expenses would cost at least 500 radiance dollars. This was under the premise that red thorn only ate a small amount of cheap grade 3-dimensional creatures. It was unknown how much resources red thorn would consume if it accumulated over time. This was a resource supply that many normal spirit chi professionals couldn't achieve. Therefore, it could be seen how difficult it was for ordinary spirit chi professionals to upgrade their phase grade and quality. Red thorn was in the diamond phase storage box. As red thorn's tenant and number 1 bootlicker, the acid corrosion queen bee was naturally in the leaf-shaped diamond phase storage box with red thorn. To the source-type life form, the acid corrosion queen bee, a place with red thorn was heaven. The acid corrosion queen bee was absorbing a large amount of acid from red thorn's body and starting to produce and store acid-swallowing larvae. As for genius, the blue flash purple butterfly, and the spirit gather goldfish, which couldn't become fantasy breeds due to the willpower rune, were stuck in quality and grade. They were also very busy. Chimey had been hanging out with genius recently, and it was unknown what they were researching. Every time Lin Yuan saw Genius and Chimey together, he could feel Chimey's face filled with anticipation and excitement, as well as Genius' helpless expression. Ever since the jasmine lily had become a fantasy breed, the blue flash purple butterfly would land on the jasmine lily's bowl-sized emerald green flower that hadn't undergone heterogenization. Life was very comfortable. The spirit gather goldfish, Little Black, had changed from being cold and overbearing at the beginning to constantly pick up the butterfly shells at the bottom of the spirit pool and feed them to the female 5 fortune ranchu every day. He watched as his fays were busy, comfortable, and affectionate. As a contestant, Lin Yuan was happy to be idle. When Wen Yu saw Lin Yuan, she immediately put down the kettle in her hand and said with a smile, "Young master, I just brewed some hot tea and placed it on the table." Lin Yuan nodded. He had not bought the tea leaves in the manor himself but had been sent over by the Radiant Moon Palace. These tea leaves were spirit tea grown by the Radiant Moon Palace's tea attendants. There were even many leaves of platinum dark dream fragrant tea mixed among the tea leaves. In this late autumn, drinking a cup of tea mixed with the leaves of platinum dark dream fragrant tea could directly dispel the coldness and lift one's spirits. After entering the house, Lin Yuan poured a cup of spirit tea. The teapot with sweet white glaze did not have any outline on it. It only had the pure feeling of the sweet white glaze and a faint glaze luster. It was the same for the teacup, which was also made of sweet white glaze. The plain teacup was filled with tea that was like amber. The tea emitted that kind of elegant fragrance that was very pleasant. Lin Yuan took out a section of completely jade-textured, black, crystal-like agarwood. He ground this completely jade-textured agarwood bit by bit in the new crane shadow sensor and ignited it. It was matched with the gentle halo emitted by the jade-textured furniture on the table. It was as though there was a crane shadow dancing in the sunlight. The crane shadow pierced through the sunlight and lingered around the rising green smoke. It was unknown whether the sunlight was reflected into the smoke or the smoke was mixed into the sunlight. The rising green smoke dyed the sunlight into a kind of illusory and real feeling that was close to nothingness. This kind of nothingness with the graceful crane shadow made people feel as though they had already ascended to immortality. The aura of the agarwood mixed with the fragrance of the dark dream fragrant tea, and the two merged into one. Not only was this combination not abrupt, but it was as though the agarwood's stone-like calmness was dyed with a hint of lightness that only existed in dreams. It was enough to make a person who was tensed up feel lazy. Just this fragrance entering the nose could dispel one's fatigue. Coincidentally, this scene was seen by Lu Jie, who came out of the kitchen. During this period, Lu Jie had gotten used to being surprised again and again, and his horizons had also widened a lot. However, when he saw such a scene, Lu Jie could not help but want to exclaim. Compared to being surprised, this exclamation was more of intoxication. The crane shadow flowed between the sunlight and the sunlight. The sunlight and crane shadow flew together. This kind of feeling could probably only be described as the seagull and the heron forget everything. When Lin Yuan saw Lu Jie come over, he picked up the sweet white glazed teacup on the table and poured a cup of spirit tea for Lu Jie. Lu Jie also placed the syrup fresh fruit that he had just made in the kitchen on the table. Baidu, read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 199. The syrup of fresh fruits was made with dozens of kinds of silver ingredients and mixed with the maple syrup of the gold maple tree. It was a very nutritious dessert before the meal. After taking the spirit tea from Lin Yuan, Lu Jie said, "Lin Yuan, I've gotten the invitation for the private auction I mentioned last time." "Lin Yuan, I have received the invitation for the private auction that I mentioned previously. It will be held on the Royal Capital's Rare Lifeform Pavilion's 3rd floor at 7 p.m. 3 days later." Lin Yuan nodded and asked, "Is there any specific information about the source-type lifeforms this time?" Lu Jie nodded very solemnly and replied, "Is there any specific information about the source-type lifeforms this time? This private auction is being held because 2 of the King-class expert squad's 5 members have comprehended willpower runes in a Class 3-dimensional rift. That's why this private auction is being held in order to gather resources to exchange for high-grade bronze phase that are suitable for their willpower runes. I heard that a total of 3 source-type items will appear this time." Lu Jie's words immediately piqued Lin Yuan's interest. Previously, Lin Yuan had thought that even if there would only be 1 source-type lifeform appearing in this private auction. He had used a source-type lifeform as a primer to raise the reputation of this private auction. However, he had not expected that this private auction would actually auction 3 source-type lifeforms. Lin Yuan thought that even if he couldn't get a source-type item that could protect him, he would still be able to get it. As for this King-class expert squad, others might not be able to get a high-quality bronze fey. As for this King-class expert squad, others might not be able to get a high-quality bronze fey. However, it was just a piece of cake for Lin Yuan. Since this King-class expert squad had chosen to auction these 3 source-type lifeforms, it meant that these 3 source-type lifeforms did not match the contract conditions of this King-class expert squad. However, the contract conditions of each source-type lifeform were completely different. These 3 source-type lifeforms did not match the King-class expert squad, but it did not necessarily match the others. Lin Yuan was not too worried about this. After lunch, Lin Yuan returned to his room. Just as he was about to log on to Star Web, his cell phone rang. When Lin Yuan saw that it was Zhang Xiaobai, he picked up the phone. As soon as he picked up the phone, he heard Zhang Xiaobai say, "Black, do you have an exclusive reporter on Star Web now?" As soon as Lin Yuan heard Zhang Xiaobai's address, he knew it was related to his identity as Black. If it was a private call, Zhang Xiaobai would just call him Lin Yuan. Upon hearing Zhang Xiaobai's words, Lin Yuan roughly knew that it was because he had set up the Star Web to reject everyone's messages. Star Web hadn't been able to contact him because they knew that he was familiar with Zhang Xiaobai and the others during the battle outside Millstone Town. Thus, they had gone to the Extreme Guild Club in hopes of finding him through Zhang Xiaobai and the others. "I don't have an exclusive reporter, but I don't want to accept any interviews. It's too troublesome." Hearing this, Zhang Xiaobai agreed and said, "I think so too. It's too troublesome to go back and forth." At that moment, Lin Yuan heard Zhang Xiaobai scream, and then Xianing picked up the phone. "Lin Yuan, I'm Xianing. You have already started the promotion duels for the Celestial Stairway. After you reach the Celestial Stairway, the Star Tower's video library will have a recording of your Star Tower battles. An exclusive reporter will not only do interviews, but will also be responsible for all news releases and battle reports related to you." Xianing was very serious. This was because there were less than 300 special columnists in the Star Tower. If he could have such a Star Web columnist and become an exclusive reporter, it would undoubtedly be of great help to his future development. With an exclusive reporter, Lin Yuan would be able to reduce a lot of unnecessary trouble. Xianing treated Lin Yuan as a friend, so she naturally had to consider problems from Lin Yuan's various perspectives. Xianing had a carefree personality, but she was also meticulous. Thus, she did not want Lin Yuan to miss the opportunity and suffer losses. Upon hearing Xianing's words, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before replying, "Yes. Big Sister Ing, help me reply to that Star Web reporter. I will take the initiative to contact him on Star Web in a few days." Xianing replied. "This Star Web columnist is called Tian Ningning. I'll tell her to wait for a while. If you have any requests that you don't agree with when you talk to Tian Ningning privately, you can reject them directly. You can choose your own exclusive reporter, and the decision on the conditions is in your hands." Previously, Xianing had been afraid that Lin Yuan would miss a good opportunity. But now, Xianing was afraid that Lin Yuan would be at a disadvantage when discussing the exclusive reporter contract with Tian Ningning. After hanging up the phone, Lin Yuan could not help but smile. Perhaps Lin Yuan's greatest gain from the life and death battle in Millstone Town was obtaining 4 friends who had experienced life and death. The words he had said to Xianing on the phone just now, Lin Yuan could feel that Xianing's words were full of concern for him and consideration for him. Lin Yuan was actually not very concerned about the exclusive reporter. However, since this Star Web columnist called Tian Ningning had gone to the Extreme Guild Club, she had already shown full sincerity. Putting aside whether he would sign a contract or not, it would not be a big problem to discuss it on Star Web. After hanging up the phone, Lin Yuan logged into Star Web. Lin Yuan was already prepared for the Celestial Stairway promotion duels. This should be his biggest challenge since climbing the tower. Lin Yuan arrived at the promotion duels above the 100th floor of the Star Web Tower and was immediately matched. There were a total of 3 duels in the Star Web Tower, and Lin Yuan only needed to win 2 duels to be promoted to the Celestial Stairway. Soon, Lin Yuan was matched with an opponent. Lin Yuan looked at the opponent's information and could not help but feel that the Wang Shui he had met previously was not considered a liver emperor. This person called Chen Hongfeng was a true liver emperor. While Lin Yuan was observing Chen Hongfeng's Star Web duels, Chen Hongfeng was also observing Lin Yuan's duels. Chen Hongfeng could not help but say, "Fuck. You're black. How did you achieve a 100% win rate? Have you never climbed the Star Tower before?" After saying that, Chen Hongfeng raised his head and said to the air, "Friends in the live streaming room, I've encountered black. Friends in the live broadcast room, I've met black. Boss, I've met black. It's simply too awesome." At that moment, in the Dragon Gate Guild Club's conference room, Long Tao looked at the watermelon-haired Fong Duo and asked, Duo, who's black? Why are you so excited, little Fong?" Wang Duo, who was chewing gum, could not help but roll his eyes when he heard Long Tao's words. "Boss, how long has it been since you went to the Star Web Forum? How many people on the Star Web Forum don't know about black?" However, Fong Duo naturally would not say this out loud, so he worded his words. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 200. Fong Duo's eyes lit up. "I heard that boss is a healing-type spirit chi professional who ascended to the Star Tower's 100th floor with a 100% win rate and qualified for the Celestial Stairway promotion duels." When Fong Duo said this, he emphasized the words healing-type spirit chi professional. It was like a reminder to Long Tao, reminding him of what he had told Long Tao before. However, Long Tao clearly did not understand Fong Duo's intentions. Instead, he spoke with great interest. "A healing-type spirit chi professional has a 100% success rate when climbing the tower? Interesting." As soon as Long Tao finished his words, Fong Duo couldn't help but complain in his heart. This wasn't just a little interesting, this was way too interesting, okay? Fong Duo suddenly heard Long Tao ask. "Didn't I ask Xiaofan to train himself at the Celestial Stairway rank advancement competition? How does Xiaofan know about black?" Fong Duo grinned and said. "How would I know? But Chen Hongfeng is very hard-working." Although Fong Duo said that, he was already mourning for Chen Hongfeng in his heart. Chen Hongfeng was a member of Dragon Gate Club's reserve team for the S tournament. As the Radiance 100 Sequence 3, Long Tao was also the captain of the Dragon Gate Guild Club's S tournament team. Long Tao thought highly of Chen Hongfeng, who was currently in the reserve team. He planned to train Chen Hongfeng heavily. However, in Fong Duo's opinion, whoever caught Long Tao's eye and wanted to be nurtured well was simply unlucky. Chen Hongfeng used to be such an affable fat otaku. In 4 months, Long Tao had trained Chen Hongfeng into a skinny otaku. Sure enough, Fong Duo listened to Long Tao. "Little Feng isn't training seriously. Tell him to train another 100 matches after he comes down from Star Web." Fong Duo silently lit a candle for Chen Hongfeng in his heart. Moreover, this candle was white. At this moment, Fong Duo heard Long Tao's exclamation again. Long Tao said, "Why does it feel so familiar?" At this moment, Long Tao looked at Black, who was standing opposite Chen Hongfeng. He felt that the silver-masked man had a temperament that left a deep impression on him. It was as if he had seen it somewhere before. Fang Duo interrupted. Chen Hongfeng, you've been training him for almost half a year. Of course you're familiar with him. Long Tao looked at Fang Duo as if he was a fool. Then, he ignored Fang Duo and looked at Chen Hongfeng's live stream. It didn't matter if the man in black with the silver mask was familiar or not. Long Tao really wanted to see how a healing-type spirit chi professional could fight his way to the Celestial Stairway promotion duels with a winning streak. When Fang Duo received Long Tao's gaze, he trembled. She wondered why she had to be lazy to watch Chen Hongfeng's live broadcast with Long Tao. Wouldn't it be better to train in the training room with your teammates? After Chen Hongfeng said that to the live broadcast room, he didn't think that he was broadcasting at all. Instead, he focused all his attention on the arena. However, at this time, Chen Hongfeng's live streaming channel was in an uproar. Breeze supporting the Willow, just now, Child Feng called him boss. Does that mean that Sequence 3, Lord Topple, is also watching this live broadcast? I can actually watch the same broadcast as Lord Overturned C. This is such a blessing. Dark Moon Luo Feng, It was Lord Black. I really want to see just how strong Lord Black is. Your little fairy is here with me, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to faint from excitement. Why is chemistry so difficult? So what if you faint? I've already peed my pants. I didn't even move. I'm going to watch this duel first. Chen Hongfeng wasn't in a hurry to summon his phase. He looked at Lin Yuan and said, Black, after this match, I'll end your winning streak. Upon hearing Chen Hongfeng's words, Lin Yuan didn't say anything and immediately summoned Chimey and Red Thorn. The moment Lin Yuan summoned Chimey and Red Thorn, Chen Hongfeng also summoned his two phase. When Lin Yuan saw Chen Hongfeng's summoned phase, his eyes shrank. These two phase were lizard phase. One of them had bluish-black skin, and the teeth on the outside of its mouth were exposed. Each of the densely packed teeth was more than 4 inches long. Its body was as strong as a giant elephant, and its limbs were thick and powerful. It was a giant lizard with a very sinister appearance. Its body was 8 meters long and 4 meters tall. Its body seemed to be filled with powerful energy and explosive power. The other Fey was a lizard that was over 1 meter in size, but it looked very strange. Its entire body was covered with dark green and brown stripes. It had a massive tail that was like a shield blocking in front of its body. This lizard's body was only the size of a watermelon, but its curled tail was more than 10 times the size of its body. Lin Yuan used true data to look at the two phase data. First Fey frowny face Fey name, smooth-toothed elephant lizard, Fey species, toothed lizard/giant lizard, Fey grade, gold, 610, Fey type, water, Fey quality, flawless abilities frowny face tragic claw, rapidly brandish its sharp claws. While tearing the target, the mucus on the sharp claws will seep into the target's body and cause a bleeding effect. Smooth-toothed tear, after biting the target, it will rapidly shake its head and tear the target. At the same time, it will rotate its body and twist off a large piece of flesh. Oily mucus, the body secretes a large amount of oily mucus that can effectively resist physical damage. Wave treading strike, stimulate the body's water elemental energy to perform a self-sacrificing strike. Exclusive skill frowny face blood burning strike, burn all the body's water elemental energy and blood to launch a fatal strike through the tongue. After the attack, the target will enter a near-death state. Second Fey frowny face Fey name, huge-tailed swamp lizard, Fey species, tailed lizard/scaled lizard, Fey grade, gold, 810, Fey type, water/earth, Fey quality, flawless abilities frowny face fetid mud, spray out mud with strong corrosiveness and a fetid smell. The mud contains pathogenic bacteria. Fetid swamp, create a fetid swamp in a small area. If a target steps on the swamp, it will be dragged into the depths of the swamp by the swamp's sinking force. Mud escape, the body can hide in the fetid swamp and rely on the swamp to avoid damage. Rotten mud rain curtain, circulate the body's earth and water elements to create a heavy rain of fetid mud. Exclusive skill frowny face broken tail rebirth, when facing a fatal attack, the huge-tailed swamp lizard can use its tail to resist the damage and sever its tail to escape. It will then rapidly stimulate the body's energy to grow a new tail. When he saw the two-phase data, Lin Yuan knew that he was about to face a tough battle. These two-phase were very outstanding, be it in terms of abilities or exclusive skills. Furthermore, one of the two-phase had prehistoric atavism, while the other had spiritual mutation. Their control and burst abilities formed a rather good combination. Lin Yuan knew that if he made a mistake or was careless, he would lose the match. But at the same time, this battle, in which he was at a slight disadvantage, ignited Lin Yuan's long-lost hot blood. This hot blood was just like when he was resisting the insect tide outside Millstone Town. The battle situation on the battlefield was on the verge of breaking out as Lin Yuan commanded Red Thorn to launch an attack. Baidu was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 201. Red Thorn had already ejected a large amount of spores from its spore cavity. A large number of spores had already formed a sea of flowers under Red Thorn's energy transmission. In this battle, Red Thorn was not stingy with its energy. Under Lin Yuan's command, it had expanded the sea of flowers as much as possible and covered the battlefield. The huge-tailed swamp lizard wasn't idle either. It had already used its skill, Stinking Swamp, to expand a swamp that was nearly 10 square meters wide. The large-tailed swamp lizard was a spell unit, so the fetid swamp lizard was only there to hide and avoid damage. This way, the huge-tailed swamp lizard could continuously use smelly mud or decaying mud rain to deal damage from the rear. At this moment, the huge-tailed swamp lizard had already stirred up the mud and attacked the child rabbits that Red Thorn had spawned. However, the next scene shocked Chen Hongfeng. The corrosive mud created by the huge-tailed swamp lizard did not cause much damage to the plants in the sea of flowers. Lin Yuan was not surprised by this situation, as everything was within his expectations. Red Thorn had to devour large amounts of dimensional lifeforms' flesh and blood every day. As of now, Red Thorn had devoured countless Class 3-dimensional lifeforms' flesh that were comparable to Gold Phase. Among them, there was even a Class 3 alien insect, acid corrosion tapeworm, whose blood was highly corrosive. Even the rank 3 alien insect, the acid corrosion sackworm, Red Thorn, ate it with relish and was not affected at all. Therefore, the child rabbits and rabbits that Red Thorn produced were extremely resistant to corrosion. The huge-tailed swamp lizard wanted to expand its swamp into the sea of flowers, so it jumped to the edge of the sea of flowers and prepared to use its gold skill, Decaying Rain. At that moment, Lin Yuan made a prompt decision to summon the blue flash purple butterfly, which he had never summoned in a battle before. In the past, whenever he used the blue flash purple butterfly's silent scale powder, he would casually release it through Morbius on his wrist. The effect of the silent scale powder wasn't as powerful as when the blue flash purple butterfly was summoned and released by itself. The moment the blue flash purple butterfly appeared, a bluish-purple halo flickered. After a few flashes, the blue flash purple butterfly disappeared into the sea of flowers. With a flap of its wings, the scattered scale powder seemed to have set off a faint purple haze. However, this magnificent purple haze was a complete disaster for the spiritually mutated huge-tailed swamp lizard. The silent scale powder, which had an adhesive property, sprinkled onto the huge-tailed swamp lizard's body. The huge-tailed swamp lizard, which was still controlling the decaying rain, immediately dissipated the decaying rain that had yet to form. The moment the adhesive silent scale powder came into contact with the huge-tailed swamp lizard, the huge-tailed swamp lizard lost its ability to sense the water and earth elements. The blue flash purple butterfly, a creature that only existed in ancient texts and legends, appeared in front of everyone for the first time in this battle. It immediately set off a storm that was not inferior to Black's appearance. After the Spirit Chi awakening, the top 10 most beautiful fays would be evaluated every year. The blue flash butterfly could have been in the top 5 based on its beauty, but because its high-grade skills weren't that strong, it was ranked 9th. Now that Lin Yuan had summoned the blue flash purple butterfly, it proved that the blue flash purple butterfly did exist in the blue flash butterfly population. At the same time, it also proved the authenticity of the ancient documents. This year, the blue flash butterfly might even have the qualifications to reach the top 3 of the top 10 most beautiful fays. Chen Hongfeng was also in a trance for a moment when he saw the blue flash purple butterfly. Just as Chen Hongfeng was in a trance, he had already controlled Red Thorn to transmit most of its energy to the huge-tailed swamp lizard, which was controlled by the blue flash purple butterfly's silent scale powder. The strongest ramets that Red Thorn could produce were quickly spawned near the huge-tailed swamp lizard that was controlled by the blue flash purple butterfly's silent scale powder. The ramet's vines grabbed at the huge-tailed swamp lizard, which was controlled by the silent scale powder and could not sense any water and earth elements. Chen Hongfeng had already recovered from his momentary trance. When he saw the thorny vines at the edge of the sea of flowers that were grabbing at the huge-tailed swamp lizard, he immediately knew that it was not good. The huge-tailed swamp lizard, which was controlled and could not sense the water and earth elements, was a live target that could not resist. If it was dragged into this large sea of flowers, how could it come out alive? Therefore, Chen Hongfeng shouted and ordered the huge-tailed swamp lizard to use its exclusive skill, Broken Tail Rebirth. After breaking its tail, the huge-tailed swamp lizard immediately became the size of a watermelon, and its small body flashed back into the swamp that had been spawned. The swamp was slowly washing away the silent scale powder on the huge-tailed swamp lizard's body. At that moment, he provided a large amount of spiritual power to the blue flash purple butterfly. The blue flash purple butterfly immediately released a large amount of silent scale powder. This lavender haze was like a snow cherry blooming in midsummer. When the scale powder fell, it carried a unique halo, making this foul-smelling tide look like a fairyland. He used the blue flash purple butterfly to seal the huge-tailed swamp lizard's movements. The swamp created by the huge-tailed swamp lizard was too small, and its body was still stained with silent scale powder, so it could not create another swamp. Therefore, the entire foul-smelling swamp lizard was mixed with a large amount of silent scale powder released by the blue flash purple butterfly, turning this foul-smelling swamp of less than 10 square meters into a forbidden area that isolated any elements. It was this forbidden area that the huge-tailed swamp lizard had created and firmly locked any possible movement of the huge-tailed swamp. Red Thorn Sea of Flowers had already surrounded the swamp, which was less than 10 square meters in size. A large number of elite ramets surrounded the swamp layer by layer. The huge-tailed swamp lizard was a gold 8/flawless fey, but its defense was not strong. However, the large-tailed swamp lizard's defense wasn't strong. If it came out, it wouldn't have that many tails to break in this sea of flowers. It would be torn into pieces by this sea of flowers. Chen Hongfeng's expression was very ugly. Chen Hongfeng didn't expect that Black would immediately cripple one of his fays. This made him feel very passive. However, he was not having a good time either. Without using the Spirit Chi imprint, the spiritual power in his body was almost exhausted. A large amount of Spirit Chi was provided to the blue flash purple butterfly and red thorns or tet, which sealed the huge-tailed swamp lizard. Although the Spirit Gather Goldfish's exclusive skill, the Spirit Chi imprint, could solve the current problem. However, he did not intend to use the Spirit Chi imprint in any of the Star Tower duels. Once the Spirit Chi imprint was opened, once the spiritual power contained in it was released, it could only stop when all the spiritual power was exhausted. The spirit chi imprint was one of Lin Yuan's trump cards to survive in the real world. If he had not unlocked the spirit chi imprint, he would not have been able to create that sea of flowers in Millstone Town that could resist the pinnacle class 1 insect tide. Therefore, the next duel was considered Lin Yuan's real difficult battle. Chen Hongfeng's remaining gold 6/flawless smooth-toothed elephant lizard was a fey that relied purely on brute force. Its exclusive skill, blood-burning strike, might enter a near-death state after launching this strike. However, under the explosive power of this move, Lin Yuan was likely to be taken away by this blood-burning strike. Chen Hongfeng had already commanded the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to charge toward Lin Yuan and face Red Thorn's Ortet. Although the small sea of flowers produced by Red Thorn could cause damage to the huge-tailed swamp lizard, it could not do anything to this wild smooth-toothed elephant lizard. Lin Yuan even vaguely felt a trace of a dragon species fey in this smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body. It seemed that this smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body already had a faint possibility of reversion toward the smooth-toothed dragon. When the smooth-toothed elephant lizard galloped over, it had already used its gold ability, wave treading. While the smooth-toothed elephant lizard was galloping over, it suddenly screamed in pain. Lin Yuan's gold eye/legend acid corrosion queen bee had been hiding in an inconspicuous child rhizome. When the smooth-toothed elephant lizard galloped close, the acid corrosion queen bee activated wing stealth. When the smooth-toothed elephant lizard galloped close, the acid corrosion queen bee activated wing stealth. It allowed the acid corrosion queen bee to silently conceal its whereabouts and activate its exclusive skill, two-hit kill, at the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's abdomen. Two slender stingers pierced straight into the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's abdomen, and the venom was injected into its body along the stingers. The acid corrosion queen bee's two stingers carried two kinds of acid corrosion venom, which instantly disintegrated a bucket-sized hole in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's abdomen. As soon as this hole appeared, many of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's internal organs were directly affected by the gravity and blocked in this broken hole. The acid corrosion queen bee's sudden attack completely caught the smooth-toothed elephant lizard off guard. The acid corrosion queen bee benefited but did not immediately retreat. Instead, it continued to stab the penetrating bone bee stinger into the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's most vulnerable organs that were blocked in the hole. The penetrating bone bee stinger was not done shattering the organs. At the same time, it cruelly produced a parasitic wasp pupa. Then, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard hissed in pain and swept its tail over. The acid corrosion queen bee activated its wing stealth skill and disappeared into the bushes in a flash. This large sea of flowers was the best battlefield for the acid corrosion queen bee, and it was also the most advantageous protection for the acid corrosion queen bee. After using the acid corrosion queen bee's set of abilities, the spirit chi in his body was immediately depleted. Had it not been for Red Thorn's thornless vine supporting Lin Yuan, he would have instantly fallen to the ground due to the exhaustion of spirit chi. He used the last bit of spiritual power in his body to use the Spirit Gather Goldfish's spirit injection ability on himself. However, when he used the Spirit Gather Goldfish's spirit injection ability, he let Red Thorn wave its vines to block his action. At that moment, Chen Hongfeng was not worried about the smooth-toothed elephant rhino's injuries. Instead, the corners of his mouth suddenly revealed a determined smile as he said, "It's close enough." "Black, you've been fooled." Baidu immediately read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 202. Chen Hongfeng's voice rang out. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard immediately used its exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike, which could only be used once before entering a near-death state. At that moment, everyone in Chen Hongfeng's Star Web live streaming room could not help but hold their breaths as they watched the duel. When Dusk summoned the blue flash purple butterfly, the screen was still densely packed and blocked the live broadcast. However, when he saw Black and Chen Hongfeng fighting, Black directed the blue-purple butterfly to seal the gold 6/flawless huge-tailed swamp lizard. Watching Hua Hai and the blue-purple butterfly's flawless coordination, Tang Wulin felt like he was watching a movie that was delightful to watch. Many people couldn't bear to send bullet comments to destroy this smooth and flowing scene. A large number of people poured into Chen Hongfeng's live broadcast room. Among them was Star Web special columnist, Tian Ningning. When Tian Ningning heard that Black was going to fight in the promotion match and that his opponent was going to be broadcasted live, she was shocked. He put down everything he was doing and entered Chen Hongfeng's live streaming room. Tian Ningning watched the battle between Black and Chen Hongfeng, and the decision she made in her heart became firmer. It wasn't that Tian Ningning was betting on whether the dark faction would always be popular and newsworthy. As a Star Web special columnist reporter, Tian Ningning could be considered a literati. Scholars always had a faint sense of arrogance in their bones. This arrogance made Tian Ningning only want to write columns that interested her and only want to interview the people she wanted to interview. It was probably a response to the saying, "Would rather die holding a fragrant branch than being blown away by the north wind." Otherwise, Tian Ningning would not have refused to become the exclusive reporter of the eliminated sequence member of the Radiance 100. There were only 100 members of the Radiance 100 sequence in the entire Radiance Federation. Every year, 10 new candidates would enter the Radiance 100 sequence. At the same time, it would also eliminate the top 10 sequence members. However, these sequence members who had been eliminated from the Radiance 100 sequence might seem to have come down from the altar. However, their reputation would not be much worse than those newly selected Radiance 100 sequence members. Black's appearance made Tian Ningning feel like picking up a pen and continuously writing articles about this young man's deeds and exciting battles and posting them on the Star Web. Although Black had never shown its true face to anyone, it had always been wearing a silver mask. However, Tian Ningning was still willing to believe that Black was just a teenager. Although Black usually wore a silver mask and appeared unusually calm, there was always a hint of youthfulness in its temperament. This youthful feeling made Tian Ningning feel that when she looked at Black's eyes through the silver mask, it was as if there was a sun hidden in his eyes. It was as if Black could unleash its sharpness at any time, break through the layers of clouds, and let the sun rise from the east. Tian Ningning had paid a huge price to see Zhang Xiaobai, Xin, and the others at the Extreme Guild Club. It was now the preparation stage of the S tournament. As a B-level guild, the pressure on the Extreme Guild Club wasn't small. Otherwise, they could take a step forward and fight their way into the top 16, advancing to become an A-grade guild. Otherwise, they could maintain their current position as a B-rank guild. The S tournament was the biggest team competition for the younger generation. There was no one who didn't want to give it a try. Furthermore, the captain of the Extreme Guild Club's main team, the Radiance 100 sequence number 18 White Devil, had also experienced a significant increase in strength over the past 6 months. As a result, the Extreme Guild Club, which was a second-level guild club, had a good chance of becoming an A-level guild club this year. Therefore, as members of the reserve team for the S tournament, Xin and Zhang Xiaobai naturally had to step up their training. As a Star Web special columnist, Tian Ningning also had her own connections. Tian Ningning used a lot of favors to enter the Extreme Guild Club and find Xin and Zhang Xiaobai. In fact, Tian Ningning had put in so much effort just to try her luck. However, what made Tian Ningning excited was that her efforts weren't in vain. Since Black had agreed, he would look for him on Star Web. Although Tian Ningning wasn't sure if she could become Black's exclusive reporter, at least she could have a chance to fight for it. In the meeting room of the Dragon Gate Guild Club, Long Tao watched the battle between Black and Chen Hongfeng. Seeing that the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had activated its exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike, he said. Black doesn't look like a healing-type spirit chi professional. Fang Duo replied immediately upon hearing Long Tao's words. This strange plant sea of flowers looks gorgeous, but it's not that strong. As soon as Fang Duo finished speaking, Long Tao glanced at him and shook his head. It's very strong, but if this is Black's full strength, then he hasn't reached the standard of a sequence member. Fang Duo didn't understand why Long Tao would say that. Long Tao had always been arrogant, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was arrogant. Since when would Long Tao give others such a high evaluation? At that moment, Fang Duo heard Long Tao's explanation. Although I don't know if this strange plant is a plant species Fey or a source-type life form, it should be at epic. Fang Duo couldn't help but ask. Bronze/epic? Long Tao nodded and continued speaking. Do you know why that mutated blue flash butterfly was able to defeat Little Feng's gold huge-tailed swamp lizard with bronze strength? Fang Duo stroked his chin and pondered for a moment before replying. Apart from restraining it, could this blue flash purple butterfly also be of high quality? Long Tao asked indifferently. I can't figure out this blue flash purple butterfly's specific quality just based on this live broadcast, but it's at least epic. Fang Duo was shocked when he heard that. Long Tao's words had always been watertight. If Long Tao could be sure that it was epic, he would definitely not say that it was at least epic. But did a bronze/legend Fey really exist? As soon as he had this thought, Fang Duo suddenly recalled the Redbud City girl who had a bronze/fantasy breed Fey on the news. Fang Duo couldn't help but sigh. Indeed, comparisons were odious. When comparing goods, one had to throw them away. I'm a Radiance 100 sequence member, the Radiance Federation's prodigy. Why does it seem like my talent suddenly seems to have become so ordinary? However, Fang Duo wasn't willing to believe that this blue flash purple butterfly was a bronze/legend Fey. It was simply too shocking. Although Long Tao was a Class 3 creation master, he had only watched the live broadcast on Star Web and had not actually come into contact with the Fey. It was difficult to accurately judge the Fey's quality. When Long Tao saw that Fang Duo was no longer speaking, he explained again. Did you see that bee that injured the smooth-toothed elephant lizard just now? The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's silver ability, oily mucus, allows it to effectively resist physical damage, but it still couldn't block this gold-eye bee's attack. Long Tao paused for a moment before continuing. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard is already a gold 6/flawless Fey. A gold-eye Fey that can directly cause such severe damage to the smooth-toothed elephant lizard can only be a legend Fey. As for that little blue bird that hasn't made a move yet, I can't determine its quality just by looking at it, but it can't be that low. Long Tao's words made Fang Duo blurt out. Fuck. Black is a Radiance coin warrior, right? Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 203. From Long Tao's analysis, Fang Duo seemed to understand something. Black's Fey's grades were not high, but their quality was terrifyingly high. This meant that Black must be a member of the younger generation. Otherwise, Black's Fey's grades would not be so low. However, Fang Duo could not help but feel very doubtful. According to Long Tao's analysis, Black had at least 2 bronze/epic Feys. Since Black could control gold Feys, it meant that he was at least a C-rank spirit chi professional. However, he clearly had 2 high-quality bronze Feys, but he did not upgrade them. Was he waiting for willpower runes? Black's appetite was a little too big when he was waiting for 2 Feys to reach legend and 2 willpower runes at once. Boss, what do you think about pulling Black into our team? Upon hearing that, Long Tao looked at Fang Duo as though he was a fool. Our team has 4 power offense-type spirit chi professionals and lacks a healer. Black has not shown his healing ability until now. Are you going to let Black join our team, and the 5 of us will go up together? Fong Duo scratched his head. In terms of strength, Black's current performance was not enough to join the Dragon Gate Guild Club's main team. However, it was more than enough to join the reserve team. However, Black's combat style and contracted phase were not compatible with the Dragon Gate Guild Club. In order to match Long Tao's Sea King Chok Mosasaur, most of the Dragon Gate Guild Club's members had water-type phase. Therefore, if Black entered the Dragon Gate Guild Club's main team, it would not be of any substantial help to the team. However, it was rumored that Black had a silver/fantasy breed healing type Fae that could even regrow severed limbs. However, Fong Duo did not dare to say this to Long Tao. After all, Fong Duo had not seen Black use the ability to regrow severed limbs. It was better to see it with one's own eyes. If he said it rashly and could not get any confirmation, it would be equivalent to saying it in vain and making a fool of himself. Boss, Chen Hongfeng should have won this match. Even if the smooth-toothed elephant lizard is severely injured, its exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike, is enough to kill Black instantly. Before Fong Duo could finish speaking, the scene in Chen Hongfeng's live-streaming room was like a slap to his face. It made Fong Duo speechless. After receiving Chen Hongfeng's order, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard did not care about its heavily injured body at all. Under the activation of the exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's heart was like a drum, emitting a violent dong sound. The red thorn plants near the smooth-toothed elephant lizard were shaking a little. All the energy in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body gathered in its heart amidst the thunderous pumping of blood. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard opened its mouth and spat out a dark red and purple energy beam wrapped in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's energy. The dark red-purple energy beam shot straight at Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan had been guarding against the smooth-toothed elephant lizard using its exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike. However, he did not expect the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to release its exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike, despite the fact that the acid corrosion queen bee had inflicted such injuries on it. The timing was all thanks to Chen Hongfeng's battle sense, which had been cultivated through tens of thousands of Star Tower battles. It could even be said that when the huge-tailed swamp lizard had been crippled, Chen Hongfeng had already made up his mind to rely on killing Black to win. The dark red-purple energy beam was getting closer and closer to Lin Yuan, so fast that he could not react in time. At that moment, Chimey instinctively released scattered light and faced the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's dark red-purple energy beam. When Chimey's petite body, wrapped in scattered light, collided with the dark red-purple energy beam, it was annihilated. The dark red-purple energy beam struck and annihilated it. However, the dark reddish-purple energy beam had also become much weaker because of Chimey's self-sacrificial protection. When Lin Yuan saw Chimey dissipate after being struck by the dark red-purple energy beam, his eyes instantly turned blood red. The moment Chimey rushed up to resist, Red Thorn had already waved its vines and wrapped Lin Yuan up. At the same time, the huge spherical mouth of Relinquish blocked in front of Lin Yuan. The weakened dark red-purple energy beam still blasted through the mouth of Relinquish. Finally, it shot straight into Lin Yuan's location, which was protected by the vines. Upon seeing this scene, Chen Hongfeng let out a sigh of relief. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard had also entered a near-death state because of this burning blood strike and fell to the ground. However, Chen Hongfeng's eyes suddenly shrank because he had not won the Star Web duel. That meant that Black was not dead. Chen Hongfeng could see the vines twisting continuously through the huge hole that was blasted open in the mouth of Relinquish. Finally, the layer of thorny vines was released, and Black was covering his left shoulder with his hand. Although his arm had not exploded into pieces under the energy beam's attack, the 10-centimeter diameter hole in his shoulder was constantly bleeding. However, the wound on his shoulder was at least 10 centimeters in diameter, and fresh blood was flowing out of it. All of this happened in a flash, and Chen Hongfeng's decisiveness made Lin Yuan unable to react. All of this happened in a flash, and Chen Hongfeng's decisiveness made Lin Yuan unable to react. If not for Chimey, he would have lost this Star Web Celestial Stairway promotion duel. It had to be said that these nearly 100 duels had given Chimey a strong sense of combat. If Chimey had used the radiant body in that split second, it would have needed to absorb enough sunlight. Perhaps during the time Chimey absorbed sunlight, the energy beam would have blasted Lin Yuan into nothingness. Therefore, Chimey relied on its instinctive reaction and crashed into the dark red-purple energy beam. It used its flesh and blood to exchange for Lin Yuan's hope of survival. In the previous battles in the Star Tower, even though Chimey and Red Thorn had been injured, they had never been blasted to death. Chimey's death made his heart feel as though it had been ruthlessly twisted by a sharp knife. This was the Star Web Tower, and even if Chimey was killed in the Star Web Tower duel, it would not be affected in the slightest. However, this made him think, what if this was outside? What should I do in such a situation? Although he had his path protector, the mother of bloodbath, and such a thing would not happen outside, he felt an invisible sense of oppression. However, Lin Yuan felt an invisible sense of oppression that came from his strength. Although Lin Yuan had lived 2 lifetimes, he had a winning streak in the Star Web Tower. He could not help but feel that his strength had been greatly improved and that he was no longer a weakling. However, after today's battle, he knew that he needed to improve too much. Chimey subconsciously rushed toward the dark red energy beam with hints of purple and instinctively used the mouth of relinquish and vines to protect themselves. This made Lin Yuan feel an unprecedented sense of responsibility. His Fei's trust and reliance on him, as well as its unhesitating trust, gave him no reason not to become stronger and protect his Fei. The mouth of relinquish was the core of Red Thorn, and now that the mouth of relinquish had a huge hole that was the size of a bucket, Red Thorn couldn't hold on any longer. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 204. Red Thorn was connected to his bloodline, and he could feel Red Thorn's life force rapidly depleting. At that moment, Lin Yuan gave Red Thorn a final order. That was to let Red Thorn use its thorny vines to rub against the wound on his shoulder that had been blasted open. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body contained a mucus that made it impossible to stop bleeding. The mucus effect was naturally included in this exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike. He could feel that the blood flowing out of his body was making his body colder and colder, causing his consciousness to become unclear. After receiving Lin Yuan's order, Red Thorn had an instinctive rejection of it. Red Thorn's reliance on Lin Yuan made it unwilling to hurt Lin Yuan, but its blood-related loyalty also made it faithfully carry out Lin Yuan's orders. Red Thorn's thorny vines were stirring around Lin Yuan's shoulder wound. The flesh that was stuck to the dark red with a hint of purple energy was directly scraped off. This kind of pain instantly made his mind abnormally clear, and fine cold sweat flowed out of his pores due to the pain. After Red Thorn completed Lin Yuan's last command, its life force was finally exhausted. The moment Red Thorn died, the beautiful sea of flowers instantly withered. In the sea of withered flowers, the giant-tailed swamp lizard's torn body could be seen. When the acid corrosion queen bee attacked the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, Red Thorn's elite ramets also extended their vines into the swamp, driving the huge-tailed swamp lizard out of the swamp and tearing it into pieces in the sea of flowers. Just as Lin Yuan had gotten Red Thorn's vines to clean his wounds, which had been tainted by the dark red and purple energy beams, Red Thorn's vines suddenly appeared. This scene shocked many viewers in Chen Hongfeng's live streaming channel. As the sea of flowers withered in an instant, the silver-masked figure covered his wound and stood proudly in the sea of flowers that withered in an instant. In that instant, it seemed to become an eternity. Chen Hongfeng looked at Lin Yuan and actually felt that his throat was a little dry. Chen Hongfeng looked at Lin Yuan and said very seriously, "Yes. Black, it's your loss to suffer such a heavy injury. Even if you didn't die just now, you'll die within a minute with your current blood loss. Your gold bee had exhausted all its strength when it attacked my smooth-toothed elephant lizard just now. Although my smooth-toothed elephant lizard is on the verge of death, it's not dead yet. Lin Yuan now felt that when he had let the acid corrosion queen bee attack the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, it had been a different story. He wanted the acid corrosion queen bee to catch the smooth-toothed elephant lizard off guard and severely injure or even kill it. Therefore, the acid corrosion queen bee didn't hold back at all. When the acid corrosion queen bee used wing stealth to avoid the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's tail whip, it had already lost all its strength. At this moment, Chen Hongfeng heard a cold voice. "Did you forget that I am a healing-type spirit qi professional?" As he spoke, he waved his hand and summoned the silver-fantasy eye jasmine lily. He was somewhat glad that these 100 duels of tower climbing had also allowed his combat intuition to improve considerably. At that time, his subconscious action of using spirit injection on himself had become the key to his comeback. The silver-fantasy eye jasmine lily emitted several emerald green light spots. These emerald green light spots melted into his wound. Under the watchful eyes of Chen Hongfeng's live streaming room, Lin Yuan's shoulder, which had a diameter of 10 centimeters from the explosion, was actually healing bit by bit under the emerald green light spots. Through the torn clothes on his shoulder, one could even see the healthy honey-colored skin that was as good as before. His injury finally recovered completely when the last trace of spiritual power in his body was exhausted. At that moment, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, which was on the verge of death, suddenly let out a mournful cry. The mournful cries came one after another as if it was suffering from some heart-wrenching torture. Not long after, a child bee that was only the size of a thumb and looked very similar to the acid corrosion queen bee emerged from the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body. However, unlike the acid corrosion queen bee, this child bee did not have 2 stingers but only 1 stinger. The child bee that flew out of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body was around silver V/elite. Logically speaking, this silver V/elite sub-bee could win the duel if it went to kill Chen Hongfeng or the smooth-toothed elephant lizard that only had 1 breath left. However, this silver V/elite wasp did not attack the smooth-toothed elephant lizard or Chen Hongfeng, who was on its last breath. Instead, it flew to the side of the acid corrosion queen bee and put its soft abdomen to the acid corrosion queen bee's mouth. The acid corrosion queen bee gobbled up the child bee hatched from the parasitic pupae it had just laid in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body. Logically speaking, the acid corrosion queen bee should have returned to Red Thorn's mouth of relinquished hive to devour the acid-swallowing larvae to quickly recover its energy. However, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike, was too sudden and pierced through Red Thorn's mouth of relinquish. This caused the acid corrosion queen bee to lose the acid-swallowing larvae in the hive and no longer have the endurance. However, the child bee hatched from the parasitic pupae once again allowed the acid corrosion queen bee's energy to recover a little. Lin Yuan did not stop the acid corrosion queen bee's behavior because this cruel, greedy, selfish, and tyrannical behavior was the instinct engraved in the acid corrosion queen bee's genes. Lin Yuan and Red Thorn were connected by blood, and Red Thorn had absorbed Lin Yuan's blood to grow. To put it bluntly, Red Thorn carried Lin Yuan's scent. Therefore, when Red Thorn died, the acid corrosion queen bee treated Lin Yuan as Red Thorn. Lin Yuan could feel the despair and sadness of the acid corrosion queen bee at the moment of Red Thorn's death. If the acid corrosion queen bee was cruel to her offspring, then her love for Red Thorn would be as deep. Lin Yuan did not refuse the acid corrosion queen bee's request to personally avenge Red Thorn. The acid corrosion queen bee flapped its wings and left an afterimage. It killed Chen Hongfeng, who was in a state of shock, with 1 stinger. After killing Chen Hongfeng, Red Thorn used its exclusive skill, 2-hit kill, on the smooth-toothed elephant lizard that was on its last breath. This time, the acid corrosion queen bee used the two-hit kill on the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's head. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's head was corroded by the acid. At that moment, Lin Yuan had won the most miserable battle he had ever fought. Even in Millstone Town, Lin Yuan had not been in such a sorry state. The acid corrosion queen bee flapped its wings and landed on Lin Yuan's shoulder. Everyone was shocked by the duel in front of them for a long time. They looked at the silver-masked figure and could not say a word. They could not help but feel an urge to shout in their hearts. Was this battle really at the level of the promotion duel? Even a Celestial Stairway 5-star battle would not be as exciting as this. Moreover, this battle had truly confirmed the rumor that Black had a silver/fantasy breed healing type Fae. Although they had not seen the severed limb rebirth today, the big hole in the shoulder had completely healed, which was not inferior to the shock of the severed limb rebirth. The live streaming room was silent for a long time. It was unknown who posted the words "Black, Awesome" on the bullet screen. Then, countless "Black, Awesome" bullet screens covered the live streaming room's screen in snow white. These countless "Black, Awesome" seemed to be witnessing the tragic duel that had just happened. It also seemed to be celebrating Black's victory. In short, Black, Awesome, was the first to read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 205. For the past few months, since the appearance of Black. Other than Black's achievements and talents, which had always been discussed and worshipped, Black's age had also been the focus of discussion. Black had always been wearing a mask and had never shown her true face to anyone. Everything was shrouded in a layer of fog, and people could not help but want to explore. Although Black had a faint youthful aura. However, this faint youthful aura did not allow Black to be identified as a member of the Radiance Federation's younger generation. But today, in Chen Hongfeng's live stream, countless viewers were looking at the hole in Black's clothes. Looking at the young man's healthy, honey-colored skin, and hearing Black's cold and magnetic voice, Lin Sanjiu could not help but gasp. Although this could not prove Black's specific age, it could prove that Black was indeed a teenager. Chen Hongfeng's live stream was filled with cheers for Black's name. They witnessed the determined young man who was still standing tall and straight after a bitter battle. This resolute young man stood there with the temperament of a towering poplar. Through the silver mask, he saw the determination in the youth's eyes. In Chen Hongfeng's live broadcast room, the Black, Awesome formation was finally broken by the other bullet screens. Water-dripping stone pierces, Black, from today onwards, I'm your fan. Coffee otaku, I can't take it anymore. The soul in my body is burning. I want to climb the tower too. I must climb from the 58th floor to the 60th floor today. Wind and rain parting sorrow, Ah Feng didn't lose unjustly. If Ah Feng hadn't been decisive and let the smooth-toothed elephant lizard use its exclusive skill, blood-burning strike, Feng would have lost even more miserably. A small goal in 5 years, my wife cut me a silver watermelon. I wanted to eat it and watch the duel, but I only took a bite and didn't have the time to take a second bite. It was too exciting. Fluffy little hamster, is there anyone who wants to say that the blue flash purple butterfly is beautiful? At that moment, in the meeting room of the Dragon Gate Guild Club, Long Tao said seriously as he looked at Black, who was standing there proudly. Fang Duo, do you have anything to say about this duel? Fang Duo said subconsciously. Boss, Black really has a fantasy breed Fae. It's a little too shocking to completely heal a shoulder with a huge hole. Long Tao frowned as if he was thinking about something. I'm not talking about Black's healing type Fae. Didn't you feel that something was wrong during the duel earlier? Fang Duo recalled the live broadcast that he had just seen, and his pupils suddenly shrank. Boss, where did Black get the spiritual power to use the healing type Fae at the end? Long Tao's frown deepened. From the looks of this battle, Little Feng and Black Dan aren't too far apart in terms of strength. In addition to scheming, the two of them are also competing in the control of their own spiritual power. The sea of flowers produced by Black's strange plant and the blue flash purple butterfly are constantly releasing silent scale powder. Both of them are consuming spiritual power. When that buffet dealt a set of high explosive damage, Black's spiritual power must have been depleted. When Black commanded the buffet to use a killer move on the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, its goal was to directly cripple the smooth-toothed elephant rhinoceros. Therefore, reserving spiritual power is unwise. This is the first point. Secondly, if Black still had spiritual power, when the smooth-toothed elephant lizard used the blood-burning strike, that strange plant beside Black could have produced a few child rabbits to block the energy beam caused by the blood-burning strike. However, Black didn't. Long Tao analyzed carefully as he spoke. This was actually what Long Tao didn't understand about this duel. In a duel between two spirit chi professionals, many reactions relied on instinctive subconscious movements. It was just like how humans would instinctively avoid danger. When encountering strong light, they would instinctively blink, and when their hands were scalded, they would instinctively withdraw. Long Tao did not think that there would be anyone who would change their instincts as a living creature in the face of danger. Therefore, Black must have had no spiritual power at that time, but it had summoned a healing-type Fey to completely heal itself. This should have consumed a lot of spiritual power. Feng Duo listened to Long Tao's analysis and subconsciously said, could it be that Silver/Fantasy breed Fey has some special exclusive skill? Or is this Silver/Fantasy breed healing-type Fey a source-type life form? Or is this Silver/Fantasy breed healing-type Fey a source-type life form? A source-type lifeform's healing method is different from ordinary Feys? Feng Duo didn't think about other aspects, let alone that Black had another Fey that could restore its spiritual power. Judging from this duel alone, Black had revealed that he had contracted 5 Feys. Such a number of Feys was already a huge burden for the younger generation. As the Radiance 100 sequence number 43, Feng Duo had only contracted 3 Feys. One of the 3 Feys didn't seem to have been nurtured with any resources. Even the Radiance 100 sequence number 3, Long Tao, had only contracted 4 Feys. The Platinum X/Fantasy 3 Sea King Chalk Mosasaurus was the main one, and 2 Platinum V/Fantasy I Deep Blue Dragon Jellyfish were the supplementary ones. There was also a Platinum 6/Epic Shark Devouring Dragon that could be used with the Platinum X/Fantasy 3 Sea King Chalk Mosasaurus exclusive skill, Extreme Sea. Long Tao had only nurtured 4 Feys, and Black had nurtured 1 more than Long Tao. Therefore, Feng Duo could not imagine that Black had a 6th Fey. Long Tao shook his head after hearing Feng Duo's guess. He still felt that something was wrong. Call Little Feng off Star Web and get him to make a copy of the video of his battle with Black. I'll take a closer look. Also, get in touch with Black and see if he has the intention to join our Dragon Gate Guild Club. Feng Duo asked in surprise. Boss, do you want Black to join our team? Long Tao shook his head and then nodded. Let's get in touch with them first. You'll handle this matter. Long Tao's words were very serious, and Feng Duo immediately became serious. Feng Duo knew that Long Tao had acknowledged Black through the duel and intended to let Black join the Dragon Gate Guild Club's main team. At this time, Feng Duo suddenly heard Long Tao speak again. Give Black a promise. If he can integrate into our team after a month, then our team can sign him. Feng Duo replied immediately. I'll go to the Star Web now and contact Black. The Dragon Gate Guild Club was the 3rd place team last year and is ranked 3rd among the 16 A-grade guild clubs. If there had been a healer in the team last year's S tournament, the Dragon Gate Guild Club would have had the hope of becoming the champion. Now, the 4 members of the Dragon Gate Guild Club's main team were all Radiant's 100 sequence members. It could be said to be an all-star lineup. Therefore, in Fong Duoduo's opinion, as long as Black was not stupid, there was no reason for him to reject. However, when Fong Duoduo went to the Star Web and was prepared to send a message to Black in the Dragon Gate Guild Club's name, he did not feel good at all. He looked at the Star Web system's notification and saw that Black had refused to accept any messages. Fong Duoduo looked as though he had eaten 30 bitter gourds. Why the hell did I pick up Long Tao's words and accept this mission? Black refused to accept any messages, which meant that he did not even have a chance to have a private chat. Fong Duoduo had made countless guesses. For example, when Black received the news, he would immediately jump in joy and come to the Dragon Gate Guild Club to participate in the interview on the same day. Or, when Black received his invitation, he would put forward some conditions, and Fong Duoduo had even thought of how to reply. However, Fong Duoduo had never expected such a situation to occur. This was simply dying before achieving success. Come on. Fong Duoduo could not help but complain. Long Tao is really a scam. No, Black is a scam. That's not right either. Long Tao and Black are scams. Baidu read the latest chapter of the Imperial Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 206. After the duel ended, Lin Yuan disappeared from the battlefield. He did not choose to continue with the second duel. Instead, he closed his eyes. He recalled the scenes of the previous duel in his mind. He had benefited a lot from this evenly matched battle where he could even be said to be at a slight disadvantage. At the same time, he had also found his shortcomings in combat. The biggest gain from this Celestial Stairway duel was to let him know how important it was for a combat class Spirit Chi professional to use and control spiritual power in combat. Every time he fought, Lin Yuan would subconsciously let Red Thorn spread out the sea of flowers, which would undoubtedly consume a lot of spiritual power. But sometimes, Red Thorn's sea of flowers could not play such a big role. Take the duel just now as an example. Lin Yuan felt that if he had not let Red Thorn produce a large sea of flowers, he had only produced a small sea of flowers to cooperate with the flashing purple butterfly to deal with the huge-tailed swamp lizard. Then, when he used the blood-burning strike against the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, he would not have been so passive. This duel made Lin Yuan know that he was still far from being a true expert. However, this duel also stimulated Lin Yuan's fighting spirit. Lin Yuan was a strong-willed person. Even the difficulty of surviving alone with Chu Ci had not been able to defeat him. In the face of the pressure from survival, Lin Yuan still took one step at a time and walked forward steadily. It was still the same for Lin Yuan now. Apart from combat skills, Lin Yuan knew that the most important thing for him to improve his strength was to increase his Spirit Chi professional rank to B rank. This way, his phase grades could have a huge qualitative change. At that time, he could be considered to have truly achieved a huge improvement. Lin Yuan opened his previously closed eyes. When he opened his eyes, there were fewer distracting thoughts in his eyes, and they were more pure. There was also an indomitable aura in this purity. He felt that he still needed time to consolidate the gains that this Celestial Stairway duel had brought him. Therefore, Lin Yuan did not participate in the second Celestial Stairway duel. Just as he was about to log off Star Web, he thought of Tian Ningning, whom Xiaofan had mentioned to him. Since Lin Yuan had agreed to it, he naturally would not go back on his word or leave Tian Ningning hanging. He simply sent a friend request to Tian Ningning. Lin Yuan didn't expect Tian Ningning to accept his friend request in less than a second. After they added each other as Star Web friends, Tian Ningning's message would not be completely blocked because of Lin Yuan's settings. Tian Ningning, hello, Black. I'm Star Web's special columnist. Black, hello, I know you. Why did you find me through my friend? Tian Ningning looked at Black's message and gritted her teeth. Tian Ningning, Black, I want to be your exclusive reporter. Lin Yuan could not help but raise his eyebrows. It was indeed as Xiaofan had said. However, Lin Yuan did not want to work on messy things now. He only wanted to increase his strength and sharpen his combat skills. However, he also knew that if he ascended the celestial stairway as Black, it would mean that every battle would be directly exposed to the Star Web netizens. Any netizen on the Star Web could watch their duel in the Star Web's video library as long as they spent a certain amount of Radiance dollars. Therefore, any Spirit Chi professional who climbed the Star Tower's celestial stairway was equivalent to a star. An exclusive reporter was actually equivalent to a person's special assistant on Star Web. In the future, as long as it was a Star Web battle or any news, the exclusive reporter would be in charge of it. Lin Yuan was a person who was afraid of trouble, but an exclusive reporter could actually save him a lot of trouble and bring him a lot of convenience. However, Lin Yuan did not want to be sloppy with his exclusive reporter. Lin Yuan did not know Tian Ningning personally, even if she was a special columnist on Star Web. There were less than 300 special columnists on Star Web, and almost everyone was considered an elite nurtured by Star Web. However, this only showed Tian Ningning's ability and not her character. Lin Yuan tended to be more inclined to character in terms of ability and character. Although ability was very important, if one's character was despicable, then this high ability could do countless bad things. Lin Yuan would definitely not hand over news and combat records related to him to such a person. A Star Web columnist's character could actually be reflected to a large extent in the articles he wrote. It was not an exaggeration to say that every word written by a Star Web columnist was a gem. A person's character could always be completely displayed in every word. If Lin Yuan wanted to sign a contract with a columnist, he would not look for an exclusive reporter who distorted the truth or only knew how to sing praises. Lin Yuan felt that no matter what people did, they should at least be upright and realistic. When Tian Ningning saw that Lin Yuan did not reply for a long time, she sent another message. Tian Ningning, I saw your celestial stairway promotion duel just now, and you did very well. I wonder if I can get your authorization to write a combat record of your battle today? Tian Ningning directly recommended herself. She knew that if she did not fight for it, even if there was a chance, it might slip away from her hands. Just like this Star Web conversation with Black, wasn't it because she had gone to the Extreme Guild Club to fight for it? When Lin Yuan saw Tian Ningning's Star Web message, he really did not expect this Star Web reporter named Tian Ningning to be so persistent. However, Lin Yuan naturally would not reject Tian Ningning's request. Black, sure. Send it to me after you're done. If I think it's okay, we can sign a contract. Tian Ningning didn't have much hope at first, but when she saw Black's message, she immediately clenched her fists in excitement. In Tian Ningning's eyes, she had fought for another opportunity that she wouldn't have had if she hadn't fought for it. Looking at Black's message, Tian Ningning suddenly felt that Black might not be as cold as he seemed on the field. On the contrary, Tian Ningning felt that Black, who had given her a chance, was kind of cute. However, as a Star Web columnist, Tian Ningning knew that whether this matter could succeed or not depended on how she wrote the article. Tian Ningning couldn't help but worry. She wanted to ask Black if he had any requirements for the combat record. Only then did he realize that Black had left the Star Web. Tian Ningning closed her eyes and thought about Black in her memory. In Tian Ningning's mind, there was a hero who had protected the town under the dimensional rift. He was a youth who did not give up in a hopeless situation and turned the situation around. Tian Ningning suddenly opened her eyes. There was something special in her eyes. It was obvious that Tian Ningning had made up her mind. Tian Ningning asked herself, Wasn't it because of this silver-masked youth's majestic positive energy that she wanted to become Black's exclusive reporter? Therefore, Tian Ningning decided to use the fairest and truest brush strokes to reconstruct this battle. No matter what kind of answer this combat record would get, at least Tian Ningning gave herself an explanation. But at least Tian Ningning had given him an explanation to the heroic young man named Black, in his mind. However, Tian Ningning didn't know that when she thought of that heroic youth, she wanted to write at a fast speed. In fact, it was the radiance hidden in the depths of an ordinary person's heart. The radiance in the heart was born from the light. Wherever the light was, the heart would go. Baidu read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 207. For the past 2 days, Lin Yuan had been enhancing the silver usnias. Pots of silver/elite usnias were enhanced by Lin Yuan's hands. Lin Yuan hung all these silver/elite usnias in his store. He let the smart robots that were still working in the store automatically put 10 pots of silver usnias up for sale every once in a while. As for the goods for Zhou Jiasen's store, Lin Yuan had sent them over through Ostrich Logistics not long ago. At the same time, Lin Yuan also bought a large batch of low-grade energy ores from Zhou Jiasen's store. These 2 days, Lin Yuan had been very fulfilling. The gains from the previous Celestial Stairway promotion duel had been completely absorbed and mastered by Lin Yuan in these 2 days. Since he was going to participate in the private auction tomorrow, Lin Yuan did not go to the second Celestial Stairway promotion duel again. Instead, he took out the normal Mist Flame Dragonfly with great potential from the wild harvesting phase. The Mist Flame Dragonfly had extremely high talent and was relatively rare, so it rarely circulated in the market. Most adventurers who caught a Mist Flame Dragonfly would put it up for auction in the Rare Life Form Pavilion on Star Web or find a rich buyer who had a demand for it. Generally, when such a rich buyer wanted to buy a Fey that they urgently needed, they would post on Star Web that they were buying a specific Fey. Most of the people who released such information were doing so to obtain a certain exclusive skill when the Fey reached bronze grade. This was a matter of luck. Buyers who were willing to obtain a specific exclusive skill would certainly not be short of money. Therefore, such buyers could even sell the Mist Flame Dragonfly at a higher price than the Rare Life Form Pavilion's auction. At that moment, Lin Yuan was going to enhance this Mist Flame Dragonfly. However, he would not enhance the Mist Flame Dragonflies like ordinary creation masters. The Mist Flame Dragonfly had the bloodline of the ancient Silurian giant Veined Dragonfly. The giant Veined Dragonfly was a Fey with an extremely high affinity for spirit chi. Since the Mist Flame Dragonfly had the giant Veined Dragonfly's bloodline, it naturally inherited this characteristic of the giant Veined Dragonfly. Therefore, high-purity spirit chi could optimize the Mist Flame Dragonfly's genetic model, allowing it to evolve toward a better life form. One must know that the giant Veined Dragonfly was the most powerful overlord of the Silurian period, the era of the desolate planet. With the body of an insect, it ruled the sky and land. It was the most powerful predatory creature of that era, standing at the top of the food chain. The moment the Mist Flame Dragonfly was summoned, it immediately stopped on his fingertips. Clearly, even after such a long time, the Mist Flame Dragonfly still had a deep impression of Lin Yuan. They knew that Lin Yuan's hand could release a high concentration of spirit chi. Looking at the Mist Flame Dragonfly's impatient and ingratiating look on its fingertip, Lin Sanjiu couldn't help but sigh. Lin Yuan smiled brightly, revealing his white teeth. He circulated the spiritual power in his body, and a large amount of high-purity spirit chi was transmitted into the Mist Flame Dragonfly's body, causing its body to constantly transform. For Feys with high spirit chi concentration, their growth and development would be restricted when the spirit chi concentration was insufficient. This was the case for the Mist Flame Dragonfly. The evolution route of an ordinary mist flame dragonfly was to continue evolving in the form of a mist flame dragonfly. Due to the insufficient spirit chi concentration, the mist flame dragonfly was unable to optimize its genetic model and mutate during evolution. However, Lin Yuan wasn't stingy with the injection of high-purity spirit chi. The mist flame dragonfly was going through the process of constantly molting, shrinking, and stretching of its wings. In just a short moment, the mist flame dragonfly's red body and pale green wings had gone through a huge transformation. When Lin Yuan checked with true data, this mist flame dragonfly was no longer called a mist flame dragonfly. It should be called a flame vein dragonfly. At that moment, this flame vein dragonfly's body was nearly 2 meters long, and it had completely awakened the huge vein dragonfly bloodline. The flame vein dragonfly's entire body had turned fiery red, and even its wings had turned red. However, its body was filled with green patterns. These green patterns made the flame vein dragonfly's body look abnormally slender and exceptionally elegant. This flame vein dragonfly might look a little frail. However, Lin Yuan knew that this flame vein dragonfly was an out-and-out spell expert. This flame vein dragonfly's exclusive skill was very simple and violent. It was the exclusive skill, Ferocious Fire. This exclusive skill, Ferocious Flames, increased the power of flames. Originally, the mist flame dragonfly's wings were green, and when it spewed fire, its wings would stir up a storm that could increase the coverage and intensity of the fire. The green patterns on the flame vein dragonfly's body were also the power of the wind element. However, the flame vein dragonfly had changed the wind-assisted fire effect from external to internal. This flame vein dragonfly's wind-assisted fire effect, and with the exclusive skill, Ferocious Flames, it became the simplest and most violent magic-type unit. The flame vein dragonfly might be 2 meters in size, but it still obediently stopped by Lin Yuan's side. Its eyes were filled with gratitude toward Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan looked at the evolved flame vein dragonfly and nodded with satisfaction. As of now, Lin Yuan had enhanced a total of 6 bronze/epic phase. He planned to keep the 3 bronze X/epic dragon phoenix landscape carps and the bronze X/epic white jade snow orchid for himself. Therefore, Lin Yuan was only left with 2 bronze X/epic phase that he could sell. These 2 bronze X/epic phase were the green bamboo snake and the flame vein dragonfly that Lin Yuan had just enhanced. The bronze X/epic green bamboo snake's attack style was like a venom-extracting assassin, while the flame vein dragonfly was like a berserk mage. Lin Yuan had collected these phase in the endless forest, and it could be said that he had single-handedly changed the trajectory of their lives. Lin Yuan had enhanced the green bamboo snake and the flame vein dragonfly to bronze X/epic, which was equivalent to giving them a great opportunity. Since Lin Yuan did not know how to contract these 2 phase, the people around him were not compatible with them either. Therefore, Lin Yuan would eventually sell these 2 phase. However, as the creation master who had created the miracle of these 2 little fellows' lives, Lin Yuan would find a good owner for them when they were traded out. Time flew by very quickly. Apart from taking care of the mansion, when you had also been practicing as a creation master for over a day. Lu Jie was also training in the mansion's newly set-up training room. It was true that geniuses had talent that surpassed ordinary people. However, if a genius wanted to reach a certain height, the effort they had to put in would not be much less than that of a mediocre person who wanted to defy the heavens and change their fate. After Lin Yuan enhanced a pot of silver usnia, he stopped what he was doing. Next, Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and when you were going to participate in the private auction held by a king-class expert squad. Lin Yuan was not very interested in the other things in this private auction. What really interested him were the 3 source-type items. For some reason, Lin Yuan seemed to have an intuition in his mind. This intuition made Lin Yuan feel that he should participate in this private auction held by a king-class expert squad this time. It was as if he would definitely gain something. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 208. It was late autumn in the royal capital, and the weather was getting colder. When a gust of wind blew at night, it felt as though it could blow through the clothes on the body. It made one feel a chill down one's spine. However, when the late autumn wind blew on the body, it wasn't as cold as the winter wind. It was like a small knife cutting the flesh. The late autumn wind was the coolest, and it matched the setting sun. The sky was faintly dotted with stars, making one's heart feel extremely bright. Lin Yuan stopped what he was doing and was about to leave the room when he heard a knock on the door. Lin Yuan opened the door and saw Wen Yu walking in with a set of black clothes in her hand. "Young master, do you think this set of clothes is suitable for tonight?" Lin Yuan took the clothes that Wen Yu handed over and saw that it was a black imperial coat. It was made of cotton, linen, and silk, with a thin and narrow placket design. It was decorated with some inlaid black jade and spiritual materials. It looked simple with a kind of rustic magnificence. Although the cotton, linen, and silk fabrics were both black, the silk fabrics were brighter, while the cotton and linen fabrics were darker. The two black colors actually had a style that clashed with each other. This made the imperial coat's design look ordinary yet not ordinary, complicated yet not complicated. The contradictory aesthetics made it obvious that this coat's design was unique. As for the pants, it was a simple black trousers. It was just that the design of the black trousers perfectly combined classical elegance and sporty toughness. The fabric used was black camel hair and silk. The camel hair was brighter than the silk, and the design of such a material gave the simple black trousers a different kind of vitality. It wouldn't make the overall highlights focus on the black imperial coat, but the trousers were brighter than the imperial coat. This way, the overall design wouldn't be top-heavy. Lin Yuan couldn't help but raise his brows. This spirit chi clothing was obviously made with expensive materials. The two sides of the coat had very inconspicuous dark-colored feather embroidery. The feather embroidery thread was the silk thread that the platinum dark death creepy spider spat out from its silk sac. The silk thread from the dark death creepy spider's silk sac was extremely rare. Just the dark death creepy spider alone was very rare, let alone a spider fey that would only spit silk when it molted. Putting aside the price, this set of clothes looked very low-key. He was dressed entirely in black, and there seemed to be no other colors. However, upon closer inspection, one would immediately be surprised to discover that this set of clothes hid a kind of low-key nobility. "Wen Yu, where did you get these clothes from?" Lin Yuan had also bought some daily wear during this time. Lin Yuan did not lack money now, but he would still choose some simple, sturdy, and durable clothes when it came to buying clothes. He had been living a tough life since he was 8 years old, so he wouldn't develop an extravagant lifestyle after becoming rich. The clothes he usually bought and Lu Jia and Wen Yu's clothes were placed in their respective cloakrooms. Although he did not remember what clothes he had bought, it was clear that he had not bought this piece of clothing before. When Wen Yu handed the clothes to Lin Yuan, she kept checking his expression. Upon seeing that Lin Yuan was very satisfied with this set of clothes, Wen Yu immediately smiled and said, "Thank you. Young master, I made this shirt when I was supervising the workers for 2 months." Wen Yu's words surprised him. Lin Yuan had always known that she was a creation master and had maxed out her internal affairs skills. However, he didn't expect her to also be a weaver. Weavers and spirit craftsmen were both lifestyle class spirit chi professionals. The Weaver Association was also an extremely wealthy association among the lifestyle class spirit chi occupation guilds in the Radiance Federation. Humans had always been improving, especially when it came to aesthetics. Weavers could use spiritual materials to make spiritual clothing. Although these high-grade spirit chi clothes didn't have much defensive capabilities, they could prevent people from worrying about them being easily damaged in battle. Your weaver level shouldn't be low, right? Upon hearing this, Yu smiled and said, "Young master, I haven't taken the weaver assessment, but if I take the assessment, I should be at least a 3-star weaver." Weavers might not be as rare and honorable as creation masters, but Class 3 weavers were already very rare. Just the fact that Yu could reach the level of a 3-star weaver was enough to show how strong her talent was. In the past, although Yu knew that she had the talent to be a weaver, she had been wholeheartedly focused on improving as a creation master. However, ever since she had saved her fellow spirit attendant sisters and suffered damage to her roots, she had been ostracized by her companions and could not improve her strength due to the damage to her roots. During that period of time, Yu had developed in the direction of a weaver. As a result, the process of making clothes as a weaver had made Yu very interested. This interest was also considered a kind of vent and comfort during that period of time. While venting and comforting, Yu suddenly had a kind of realization. As a weaver, it was actually a very wonderful thing. The weaver's values, character, state, habits, and even the will of the weaver when designing the clothing would all affect the final appearance of a piece of clothing. Weavers creating clothes was considered creation, and creation masters creating phase were also considered creation. In Yu's opinion, although the two of them had different directions of creation, there was something in common. In Yu's opinion, this kind of realization seemed to have a considerable improvement in her progress as a creation master. If Yu had not met Lin Yuan, she would not have had that drop of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar. After Yu had been eliminated from the spirit attendants, she could only admire herself for the rest of her life, be it as a creation master or a weaver. However, it was Lin Yuan who had brought light and hope to Yu. Therefore, during the time when she was supervising the workers, even if she was tired every day, she would still take a lot of time to create this set of spirit chi clothes. It was not easy to carefully design an exquisite spirit chi clothing. It was the day before yesterday that Yu had completed the spirit chi clothing. Lin Yuan looked at the clothes in his hand and thanked her seriously. In Lin Yuan's heart, it was not because he had become the Moon Empress disciple, but because Yu was the Radiant Moon Palace's spirit attendant and had become his assistant, everything she did was what she should do. Therefore, Lin Yuan saw everything that Yu had done. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's thanks, Yu hurriedly said, "Young master, change your clothes first. Big brother Lu has already prepared the meal. I'll go down and help. We should go to the auction after eating." After speaking, Yu left Lin Yuan's room. Lin Yuan's words of thanks entered Yu's ears, and she could feel a kind of respect from Lin Yuan. This kind of respect referred to Lin Yuan always putting her in an equal position and not treating her as a servant. Such respect made Yu's eyes a little sour. Yu did not understand why Lin Yuan was clearly just an 18-year-old youth, but what he did and said always brought strength to others. Lin Yuan changed his clothes and looked in the mirror. He felt that the black-haired, black-eyed youth in the mirror looked a little dazzling. Baidu read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 209. After looking in the full-length mirror, Lin Yuan scratched the back of his head and could not help but think. "I'm not a narcissistic person." Then, he turned around and left the room. Yu and Lu Jie, who were downstairs, were dumbfounded when Lin Yuan walked out of the room and down the stairs. Lin Yuan usually never dressed up. Although he did not dress up today, his change of clothes, coupled with his unique sunny temperament, gave people a kind of indescribable handsomeness and familiarity. "Young master is unparalleled" was not enough to describe the youth in front of them. Lu Jie exclaimed in admiration. "Lin Yuan, if you take a photo wearing this and post it on Star Web, you will definitely have many fans based on your looks alone." Wen Yu rolled her eyes at Lu Jie. Lin Yuan, why do I need to rely on my looks? In Wen Yu's opinion, Lin Yuan was very handsome and had an outstanding temperament. However, compared to Lin Yuan's other aspects, his temperament and appearance were the least worth mentioning. Lin Yuan said helplessly, the two of you are good enough. You two, that's enough. When did you two form a praising team and learn the skill storm praise? After the meal, Wen Yu summoned her contracted flying fae, Sunlight Egret, in the courtyard. Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Wen Yu sat on the Sunlight Egret's back and headed toward the royal capital's rare life form pavilion. Lu Jie suddenly had a feeling of a beautiful rich woman taking two handsome young men for a ride on the Sunlight Egret's back. Lu Jie felt that the thoughts in his mind were a little dangerous, so he immediately shook his head to get rid of the dangerous thoughts in his head and restored his simple and honest face. The royal capital's rare life form pavilion had always been very lively, and it was even more so today. However, the rare life form pavilion was a little different from the past. There were a lot more people riding on flying fays than before. When they arrived at the rare life form pavilion, their identities were verified. Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Wen Yu walked to the rare life form pavilion's third floor. Lu Jie had just arrived at the third floor when he felt a little urgent and hurried to the toilet. Lin Yuan and Wen Yu simply stood in place and waited for Lu Jie to return. Tonight, the entire rare life form pavilion's third floor was booked. As soon as he entered the rare life form pavilion's third floor, he realized that it was set up like a banquet. There were many snacks and delicacies on the table. Most of the drinks were brewed with all kinds of spirit materials and were very expensive. There were still about 40 minutes before the auction started. Many people who came to participate in the auction were either sitting in the VIP seats waiting for the auction to begin, or chatting in pairs in the wine area. It was a very harmonious scene. However, he noticed that there was a man and a woman in the dessert area at the entrance of the wine area, which looked a little strange. The man and woman were less than 5 meters away from Lin Yuan. Since the man and woman were rushing in the direction of the VIP area, their backs were facing Lin Yuan. The man had a watermelon hairstyle and was standing there with a look of despair on his face. The girl looked sweet and cute, and she was eating the desserts on the table in big mouthfuls. He could eat a pastry the size of half a fist in one bite, and he ate it very quickly. However, the way he ate the pastries was unusually elegant. At this time, the man with a bowl cut said helplessly, "Zhao Xiaochun, can you stop eating? Didn't you eat all the dishes on the table in the training room just now?" The girl was eating and stammered. "Fang Duo, what's wrong with me eating something? I didn't eat your rice." Fang Duo had a helpless look. "How was this a little thing? Zhao Xiaochun, can you eat at another table? You've almost eaten all the desserts on this table." Zhao Xiaochun raised her head and glared at Fang Duo. "Don't bother about me. If you do, I'll tell Long Tao about you slacking off in the training room. Boss Long Tao won't give you extra training." Fang Duo said indifferently when he heard Zhao Xiaochun's threat. "Boss has been trying to contact Black since yesterday, ever since he found out that he refused to accept anyone's message. How can he have time to give me extra training?" Zhao Xiaochun almost choked to death by Fang Duo's words. Lin Yuan did not expect the man and woman standing not far from him to actually mention him, and it seemed like they wanted to find him for something. After a long while, Zhao Xiaochun finally recovered from her choking state. "Fang Duo, you were the one who patted your chest to contact Black with Boss. If you could contact him, would Boss still have to worry?" Fang Duo looked aggrieved and felt that he was going to be wronged to death. What could he do if Black refused to accept anyone's message? "Zhao Xiaochun, you're a member of the Radiance 100 sequence, after all. If you really finish this table, then the image of a food-hating lady on Star Web that you've always built for yourself will collapse. If you say something nice now, I can promise not to post the photos I took. When Zhao Xiaochun saw that Fang Duo was taking photos of her with his cell phone, she angrily put her hands on her waist. As there was too much in her mouth, Zhao Xiaochun took a full minute to swallow all the things in her mouth and said indifferently, "If you want to post it, then post it. If you want to send it, then send it. But if you do, I'll tell him that you lied to Feng Lei." Fang Duo was confused by Zhao Xiaochun's words. Feng Lei was the most stubborn person in the team. He was the least resistant to deception and loved to take everything seriously. What could he lie to Feng Lei about? Feng Lei was his good brother. Although Fang Duo was confused, he still spoke. "Zhao Xiaochun, I'll send it now." However, before Fang Duo could finish his sentence, Zhao Xiaochun said quickly, "That's right. Feng Lei's online girlfriend of 2 years hasn't made any voice or video calls with Feng Lei. Every time Feng Lei wants to make a video call with her, he's rejected by her. If you dare to do that, I'll tell Feng Lei that you've been using a smuff account to fool him." Fuck. Zhao Xiaochun, can you not be so black-bellied? You're eating my blood-steamed bun. When did I use my alternate account to hook up with Feng Lei? Feng Lei has a one-track mind. If he really believes you, he'll die. Fang Duo recalled how Feng Lei had been frowning and sighing recently. He had been asking him why his online girlfriend of 2 years did not make voice or video calls with him. He took out his family tree and seriously thought about the name of his and his girlfriend's child in the future. Thinking of this, Fang Duo could not help but shiver a few times. If he let Zhao Xiaochun go back and talk nonsense, Feng Lei, a stubborn and honest man, would cry and beat him to death. Zhao Xiaochun was about to continue speaking when she suddenly heard a chuckle behind her. She turned her head immediately and saw a young girl covering her mouth and looking at her apologetically. However, Zhao Xiaochun didn't even have time to react. Her gaze was fixed on the black-robed young man next to the girl, who was covering her mouth with her hand. She said instinctively, "He's so fucking handsome." Fang Duo could not help but slap the back of his head with one hand and tug at Zhao Xiaochun's sleeve with the other hand. He said in a low voice, "Zhao Xiaochun, wipe your saliva and come back to your senses." Zhao Xiaochun wiped the corner of her mouth instinctively. She found there was no saliva at all. There was only some cake crumbs at the corner of her mouth. She rolled her eyes at Fang Duo. Baiduan read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Bookhouse for free. Chapter 210. After glaring at Fang Duo, Zhao Xiaochun immediately regained her cute and elegant appearance and stepped forward. "Handsome, my name is Zhao Qingcheng. My courtesy name is Xiaochun and my nickname is Beauty. I live in the capital and I'm a virtuous lady. Can I have your contact details?" Fang Duo immediately took 3 steps to the side, acting as if he did not know Zhao Xiaochun. In his heart, he couldn't help but complain that Zhao Xiaochun's infatuation couldn't be changed in this lifetime. At this moment, Fang Duo suddenly saw a familiar figure walking straight to the youth in black. Lu Jia walked to Lin Yuan and Wen Yu's side. "Lin Yuan, Wen Yu, I've kept you waiting." Fang Duo immediately stepped forward and patted Lu Jia on the shoulder. "Lu Jia, you're finally back." The Radiance Federation's officials had not announced Lu Jia's return in the news. However, everyone in the Radiance 100 sequence already knew that Lu Jia would be participating in the Radiance 100 sequence competition this year. 2 years ago, Lu Jia was sequence 39 of the Radiance 100 sequence. Although it had been 2 years since they last met, Zhang Xian had no idea how strong Lu Jia was. However, even if Lu Jia's strength did not improve at all, it would not be a problem for him to rank 70th or 80th in the Radiance 100 sequence. Since Lu Jia had returned to participate in the Radiance 100 sequence competition, it meant that his contracted source-type life form, the insect queen, must have fully recovered. Fang Duo and Lu Jie had met more than once in the Radiance 100 sequence duels and in the Star Web Tower Celestial Stairway duels. Fang Duo had always kept Lu Jie's terrifying strength in mind. Everyone in the Radiance 100 sequence knew why Lu Jie had left that day. Therefore, apart from acknowledging Lu Jie's strength, Fang Duo also felt respect for him. Lu Jie nodded and greeted Fang Duo. Then, he turned to Zhao Xiaochun, who had a love-struck look on her face. "Hey, Zhao Xiaochun, it's been 2 years. How come you're still a love-struck Arabian?" Compared to Fang Duo, Lu Jie was obviously more familiar with Zhao Xiaochun. Lu Jie had teamed up with Zhao Xiaochun when he went on a mission before. When Zhao Xiaochun heard the words love-struck Arabian monster, she immediately jumped up in anger. "Lu Jie, I originally wanted to treat you to a meal, but since you called me a love-struck glutton, it'll be you treating me to a meal instead." As Zhao Xiaochun spoke, Lin Yuan even saw a flash of anticipation in her eyes when she mentioned eating. Lu Jie quickly waved his hand. "I'm afraid that I'll be chased out by the owner of the restaurant if I bring you out for a meal. Now, all the restaurants in the capital don't dare to hold eating competitions because of you. Don't you know that?" Upon hearing that, Zhao Xiaochun stole a glance at Lin Yuan and wished she could immediately rush over and cover his mouth. Right now, Zhao Xiaochun wished she could have a battle with Lu Jie and Fang Duo on Star Web. Zhao Xiaochun wondered if she could still maintain a ladylike image in front of this handsome guy. Fang Duo focused all his attention on the Class 2 Creation Master Retainer Knight crest on Lu Jie's chest. When Lu Jie walked over, Fang Duo noticed that when Lu Jie stopped beside the black-clothed youth, he deliberately lagged behind by half a shoulder. At first, Fang Duo did not feel anything. However, when he saw the Class 2 Creation Master Retainer crest on Lu Jie's chest and recalled Lu Jie's previous performance, he immediately confirmed that the black-clothed youth in front of him was the Creation Master that Lu Jie had sworn to be. Otherwise, given Lu Jie's character and identity, he would definitely not deliberately lag behind this black-clothed youth by half a shoulder. Fang Duo did not understand why Lu Jie had chosen to become a Class 2 Creation Master's retainer. However, Fang Duo knew that if this youth in front of him became a Class 2 Creation Master at this age, he would really be an incredible existence. As a member of the Dragon Gate Guild Club's main team and a Radiance 100 sequence member like Long Tao, Fang Duo was very familiar with Long Tao. The black-clothed youth in front of him looked to be only 17 or 18 years old. When Long Tao was 17 or 18 years old, he seemed to have only been a Pinnacle Class 1 Creation Master. When he was almost 20 years old, he had only become a Class 2 Creation Master. Fang Duo took a step forward and walked to Lin Yuan's side before extending his hand and saying, "Hello, let's get to know each other." "Hello, let's get to know each other. My name is Fang Duo. I'm 24 years old today. I like to eat meat and don't like to go out with Zhao Xiaochun." When Lin Yuan saw Fang Duo take the initiative to greet him, he reached out and shook hands with him. "My name is Lin Yuan. I'm 18 years old this year, and I like to eat meat too." Fang Duo's eyes lit up. "I love meat. Good taste indeed." When Zhao Xiaochun saw Fang Duo shaking hands with Lin Yuan, she immediately extended her hand as well. "My name is Zhao Qingcheng. My courtesy name is Xiaochun, and my nickname is Meili. I'm 21 years old this year, and I like to study. I don't like to eat anything. Because I'm anorexic." Lin Yuan's brows twitched as he looked at the lonely piece of cake on the table. Lin Yuan could not help but want to say, if she's like this when she's anorexic, then what if she's not anorexic? Fang Duo couldn't stand it anymore and immediately pulled Zhao Xiaochun back. "I will bring her inside to wait for the auction." "Nice to meet you, Lin Yuan." After saying that, he forcefully dragged Zhao Xiaochun toward the VIP section of the auction. Lu Jie also had a helpless look on his face. Zhao Xiaochun has always been this nonsensical. Lu Jie suddenly said very seriously, but Zhao Xiaochun is very strong. But Zhao Xiaochun is very strong. When I left the Radiance 100 sequence 2 years ago, Zhao Xiaochun was ranked 36th in the Radiance 100 sequence, 1 rank ahead of me. However, last year, Zhao Xiaochun had risen to 21st in the Radiance 100 sequence. 2 days ago, I carefully observed this year's sequence members' battles. Zhao Xiaochun is likely to be ranked in the top 15 this year. She can be considered a very powerful rookie in the Radiance 100 sequence. Lin Yuan was a little surprised that this girl, who said she was anorexic but was clearly gluttonous, was still so talented in the Radiance 100 sequence, a place where geniuses gathered. One really couldn't judge a book by its cover. Lin Yuan didn't expect that he would actually get to know 2 Radiance 100 sequence members by attending a private auction today. As for Fang Duo mentioning his identity as black, Lin Yuan roughly guessed what was going on. From their conversation, Lin Yuan knew that they were members of the guild club. In that case, they were probably looking for him because they wanted to recruit him into their club. However, Lin Yuan had no intention of joining another guild club. Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Wen Yu also walked to the VIP section and sat down, ready to participate in the next private auction. As soon as Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Wen Yu walked to the VIP section, they attracted a lot of attention. Of course, most of these gazes finally stopped on Lu Jie. Almost everyone present had a certain status, and the entry conditions for a private auction held by a King-class expert squad were relatively strict. There were even quite a number of King stage powerhouses present. The news of the 3 source-type items released in this auction was enough to attract most people. Moreover, in order to integrate resources, this King-class expert squad had also taken out many of their trump cards that were useless to their squad members. Soon, in less than 10 minutes, the auction officially began. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly heard a familiar but long-lost voice in his mind. Baiduan, read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 211. Upon hearing this long-lost voice, Lin Yuan was immediately delighted. It had been more than 4 months since Morbius had gone into a slumber to recover itself. Morbius had not woken up for the past 4 months, so its sudden awakening was really a surprise. Morbius, you're finally awake. When Morbius woke up from its slumber again, it immediately talked to Lin Yuan in his spiritual spatial zone. Morbius had signed a contract with Lin Yuan when he was 8 years old without Lin Yuan's knowledge. At that time, in order to protect Lin Yuan's spiritual energy, Morbius had chosen to seal itself and even damaged itself. It had used its slumber to ensure that Lin Yuan's spiritual energy would not collapse when he was only 8 years old at that time. Before Morbius had woken up for the first time a few months ago, Lin Yuan had never known that he had a Fei like Morbius. However, Morbius had been Lin Yuan's Fei for as long as 10 years. Therefore, Morbius' dependence and feelings for Lin Yuan had long been deeply integrated into its bones. Such feelings were no longer as simple as being connected by blood. Now that it had heard Lin Yuan's reply as soon as it woke up, Morbius could not help but feel a kind of joy. Lin Yuan, after waking up from this slumber, I'm considered to have recovered to my complete state. Upon hearing Morbius' words, Lin Yuan was slightly puzzled. However, when Lin Yuan went to sense Morbius' state, he was immediately surprised to find that Morbius actually had an additional ability compared to before it had fallen asleep. Lin Yuan used True Data to check on Morbius' current situation. Fei name, Morbius, Fei species, Fei grade, Bronze, 10/10, Fei type, Spatial/Mystery, Fei quality, Legend abilities Frowny face True Data, digitize all complex information that cannot be distinguished by the naked eye. The digitized information may contain the truth that cannot be distinguished on the surface. Calm mind, passive ability. The effect of calm mind can be enhanced according to the phase grade. Calm mind can stabilize the mind and has a certain chance to resist negative states. Spirit Qi condensation. Gather the spirit Qi in the air and the spirit Qi in the spirit lock spatial zone. The gathered spirit Qi will form spirit Qi crystals. Spirit Qi crystals can enhance phase and source-type lifeforms. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Spirit Lock, Morbius Spatial Zone can nurture phase. The initial grade of the Fey that Morbius Spatial Zone nurtures must not be higher than Morbius grade. Morbius is unable to level up, and its grade will increase along with the Fey that it nurtures. At the same time, Morbius can obtain the initial abilities of the Fey that it nurtures. However, Morbius will not obtain abilities when it levels up. Every time Morbius increases a grade, it will be able to nurture one more Fey. Pure Land of Bliss, the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone produces soil that can heal near-death phase injuries. The phase recovery time is determined by Morbius grade and the dying phase grade. Normal Spirit Lock, Jasmine Lily, Silver Eye, Fantasy Eye skills, heal, recovers wounds and replenishes life force. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Resuscitation Mark, stores the healing energy released by the Jasmine Lily. The contestant can activate the mark to release the stored healing energy. Severed Growth, comprehend the mysteries of plant growth. Even if a limb is severed, it can still grow slowly. Elite Spirit Lock, Spirit Gather Goldfish, Bronze X/Legend skills, Spirit Injection, recover a certain amount of spiritual power in one go. Afterward, it will slowly recover the lost spiritual power. Exclusive skill, Spirit Qi Imprint, the Spirit Qi that is released is not released into the environment but stored in the Spirit Qi Imprint. The Spirit Qi Imprint will be branded on the contestant's body, and the contestant can release the stored spiritual power in the Spirit Qi Imprint. Bronze Spirit Lock, Blue Flash Purple Butterfly, Bronze X/Legend skills, Silent Scale Powder, releases a special scale powder with a silence effect, causing the target that comes into contact with the scale powder to be unable to communicate with spiritual power and release abilities. Exclusive skill, Scale Powder Halo, its scale powder has a powerful reflective effect. The multifaceted reflection of the scale powder will cause the target enveloped by the scale powder to suffer from optical pollution, causing dizziness or even temporary blindness. Under true data, Lin Yuan found that the new skill that Morbius had obtained was called Spirit Qi Condensation. However, Lin Yuan did not know why Morbius would have an additional skill out of nowhere. Morbius and Lin Yuan were spiritually connected, so it sensed Lin Yuan's doubts and explained. Previously, due to the compression of my spiritual power, I sealed a portion of my abilities. I only woke up last time, but I've always been flawed. After I woke up this time, the seal on myself has been completely undone. In Lin Yuan's opinion, Morbius' ability, Spirit Qi Condensation, was very similar to him circulating his spiritual power to guide the pure spirit Qi of heaven and earth into his body to promote the evolution of phase. However, Morbius' Spirit Qi Condensation was to store the thin Spirit Qi in the air and the Spirit Qi in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone to form a Spirit Qi crystal. Morbius, how much spirit energy can the spirit energy crystals condensed by spirit energy condensation contain? Morbius replied. Currently, a Spirit Qi crystal that has been condensed should be able to raise the Jasmine Lily's grade by 1 grade. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up. Currently, it was very difficult for him to increase the Jasmine Lily's strength. This was because Lin Yuan was currently stuck at C rank as a Spirit Qi professional. If he wanted to evolve from a C rank Spirit Qi professional to B rank, even if he constantly enhanced phase every day, it would still take a very long time. During this period of time, Lin Yuan's strength increase would be very limited. Given Lin Yuan's current standard as a C-rank Spirit Chi professional, he would need at least a month to upgrade the Fantasy Eye Jasmine Lily from Silver Eye to Silver 2. During this month, Lin Yuan had to do nothing else. Apart from sleeping for 5 hours every day, he would use the rest of his time to enhance the Jasmine Lily. In Lin Yuan's opinion, it was a waste to upgrade the phase grades like this. Even if he spent a year to upgrade the Jasmine Lily, it would be impossible for him to upgrade the Fantasy Breed Jasmine Lily from silver to gold. It was also because it was currently very difficult for Lin Yuan to upgrade the Fantasy Breed phase grades that his strength was stuck at this stage. Lin Yuan was now a C-rank Spirit Chi professional. Given his current Fey equipment, he could have the Gold X/Fantasy Eye Jasmine Lily, the Gold Eye/Fantasy Eye Chimey, and the Gold X/Legend Acid Corrosion Queen Bee at his peak. However, the strength of the Jasmine Lily, Chimey, and the Acid Corrosion Queen Bee had yet to reach the maximum of Lin Yuan's current Spirit Chi professional rank. Lin Yuan's current strength was stronger than most of the younger generation's Spirit Chi professionals. However, there was still a huge gap between him and the Radiance 100 sequence. If he wanted to be ranked in the Radiance 100 sequence, he would need to have at least Platinum combat power. Lin Yuan's strongest combat power was only the Gold Eye/Legend Acid Corrosion Queen Bee. Although the Acid Corrosion Queen Bee was at the legendary quality, it had an advantage against ordinary people in the Star Tower. However, the phase of the Radiance 100 sequence experts would not be of low quality. In fact, many Radiance 100 sequence members even had Fantasy Breed phase. Given Lin Yuan's current gold combat power, there was no hope of competing for the Radiance 100 sequence. However, now that Morbius had recovered to its complete form, the recovered Spirit Chi condensation could actually perfectly make up for Lin Yuan's current inability to upgrade the Fantasy Breed phase grades. With Morbius Spirit Chi condensation, Lin Yuan might even be able to participate in the Radiance 100 sequence competition this year. Baiduan read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 212. Lin Yuan's original plan was not to participate in the Radiance 100 sequence competition this year. His goal had always been to try for the Radiance 100 sequence next year. During the first year, they could only compete for the Radiance 100 sequence's top 10 spots, ranging from 90th to 100th. This was because the Radiance 100 sequence would only eliminate 10 people every year. Every year, only 10 individuals could fill the remaining spots in the Radiance 100 sequence. Now, an ambition suddenly arose in Lin Yuan's heart. He wanted to participate in the Radiance 100 sequence competition this year. They had to fight for one of the Radiance 100 sequence 90 to 100 spots. During this time, Lin Yuan had watched many Radiance 100 sequence members' Celestial Stairway duels in the Celestial Stairways video library. Although Lin Yuan could not say that he remembered every Radiance 100 sequence member's Fey clearly, he knew that the Radiance 100 sequence members had the same Fey. However, he still knew the general strength of the Radiance 100 sequence members from 90 to 100. As long as he had a Gold/Fantasy Breed Fey, he might not necessarily be able to enter the Radiance 100 sequence. But at least there was a possibility of competition. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly thought of a very important question. How long did Morbius Spirit Chi condensation take to condense a Spirit Chi crystal? The Radiance Federation's S tournament was about to begin. The S tournament started in January and ended in March. Meanwhile, the competition for the Radiance 100 sequence would last from March to April. Therefore, from January to April, the Radiance Federation's New Year period was basically a carnival for the Radiance Federation's residents. These 4 months were also known as the Big Season. Morbius estimated and said to Lin Yuan, "That's right. Under normal circumstances, the Spirit Chi condensation would require around 10 days to condense a Spirit Chi crystal. If there is a sufficient supply of energy ores in the Spirit Lock spatial zone, it would take around 7 days to condense a Spirit Chi crystal. After receiving Morbius' reply, Lin Yuan was even more determined to participate in the Radiance 100 sequence competition this year. Lin Yuan didn't lack energy ores, so he just had to purchase them from Zhou Jiasen's Star Web store. One spirit crystal every 7 days meant that it would take about 70 days to upgrade the Fantasy Breed Chimey or the Jasmine Lily to gold grade. It was now the end of November, and there were still over 3 months before the Radiance 100 sequence selection. During this time, he could upgrade Chimey from Silver I/Fantasy I to Gold I/Fantasy I. He could even use the extra spirit power crystals to strengthen the source-type life form, the Acid Corrosion Queen Bee. Fantasy breeds required a lot more spirit chi than normal phase required to evolve by 1 grade. Therefore, he was likely to increase the Acid Corrosion Queen Bee's strength to Gold X/Legend within 3 months. He chatted with Morbius in the spiritual spatial zone and counted his gains over the past few months. At that moment, Lin Yuan felt someone pat his shoulder and immediately returned to his senses. When he came back to his senses, he found Lu Jie looking at him with some concern. "Lin Yuan, why haven't you moved since the beginning of the auction? Did something happen?" Lin Yuan looked at Lu Jie's concerned gaze and shook his head. "I'm fine." "Was there anything outstanding in the auction?" Lin Yuan had just learned that Morbius had woken up, so he kept his thoughts in the spirit lock spatial zone. He did not pay attention to what was being auctioned in this private auction. Lu Jie saw that Lin Yuan did not look uncomfortable, so he was relieved and said, "Some rare spiritual ingredients were auctioned just now." "I just auctioned some rare spiritual ingredients, and the most precious one is the Platinum Dragon Beast's blood." An entire tube of platinum blood was sold for a high price of nearly 400,000 Radiance dollars. Lin Yuan nodded. Although the platinum dragon's blood was rare, there was still a small circulation. If one was sincere, they could still buy it. At that moment, Lin Yuan and Lu Jie suddenly heard many people exclaim. At that moment, one of the king-class experts in the 5-man team that organized the auction was holding a platinum Fey storage box. With a shake of his hand, he summoned the Fey in the Fey storage box. Many exclamations were due to this platinum snake species Fey that had suddenly been summoned. Lin Yuan used true data to check the snake species Fey that had been summoned from the Fey storage box. Fey name, Misconcealed Mamba, Fey species, Cobra/Black Mamba, Fey grade, Platinum, 10 out of 10, Fey type, Poison, Fey quality, epic abilities Frowny Face Mist Transformation, transforms the body into mist, effectively dodging physical damage. However, energy damage will be multiplied by the damage dealt. Twin Venomous Fangs, after the venomous fangs bite the target, a second set of venomous fangs will quickly pop out from the upper jaw. The venom contained in the second set of venomous fangs has an additional paralyzing effect. Fatal Coil, the mistransformed body can quickly strangle the target. During the strangle, the scales on the abdomen will rise, and the scales can release snake venom. Mamba Dense Fog, spray a large amount of poisonous fog that can increase the concealment effect. At the same time, the target that comes into contact with the poisonous fog will have all kinds of illusions. Mamba Disintegration, burn all the energy in the body and quickly secrete the venom, injecting all the venom in the body in one shot. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Concentrated Venom, stimulate the potential of the venom glands, doubling the venom produced by the venom glands. Lin Yuan could not help but click his tongue. It seemed that this 5-member king-class squad had really put in a lot of effort for this auction. Otherwise, they would not have put such a Fey up for auction no matter what. The king-class expert, who had summoned this platinum/epic mist-concealed Mamba, said, "This snake species Fey is a mist-concealed Mamba, Platinum X/epic. A-rank spirit chi professionals can directly contract it. This snake species Fey is a mist-concealed Mamba. It's Platinum X/epic and can be contracted by A-rank spirit chi professionals. Since this king-class expert squad wanted to integrate the resources, it was natural that the higher the price of this mist-concealed mamba, the better. Since this king-class team wanted to consolidate their resources, the higher the price of the mist-hidden mamba, the better. Hence, the king-level powerhouse vividly explained the advantages of the Platinum X/Epic mist-hidden mamba. Lin Yuan could not help but feel a toothache. However, it was undeniable that this mist-concealed mamba's abilities were not bad. Mist transformation and fatal coil could be perfectly matched and become control-type abilities. While controlling, the twin venomous fangs would also cause toxic damage to the target. If combined with mamba's disintegration, as long as this mist-concealed mamba could bite the target and break the armor, it could even poison a Fey that was one grade higher than itself to death. Most snake species Feys relied on toxic attacks. Mamba snakes were the most venomous among the venomous snakes. This mist-concealed mamba's exclusive skill was concentrated venom, which increased the mist-concealed mamba's toxicity by another level. A poison-type Fey's strength had always been linked to the strength of the poison. This mist-concealed mamba's exclusive skill allowed its strength to be higher than its grade. However, as long as an A-rank spirit chi professional could afford this mist-concealed mamba, they would probably not choose to directly contract it. With this resource, they could completely nurture a Fey that was more suitable for themselves from a lower grade. Once Feys reached the gold grade, poison-type Feys would slowly become weaker. Gold and above Feys' defenses were getting stronger, especially some defense-type Feys, which could be completely independent in terms of defense. As for poison-type Feys, the toxicity in their bodies would also constantly increase with the increase of grade. However, in other aspects, they were much weaker than same-grade Feys. Baidu, read the latest chapter of Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 213. It was especially so after the Fey reached Platinum. The biggest problem faced by poison-type Feys was how to bite the target with their venomous fangs and pierce through the opponent's defense. Otherwise, if the venomous fangs could not pierce through the target's defense, the poison-type Fey would not have the slightest advantage against Feys of the same grade with other attributes. Poison-type Feys were extremely powerful in the early stages, but they would become slightly weaker after reaching gold. Of course, this situation was not absolute. Many precious poison-type Feys could still kill enemies of a higher grade even at Platinum. Some poison-type Feys had even comprehended the armor-piercing venomous fangs. However, this mist-concealed mamba was obviously not one of them. However, the final transaction price surprised Lin Yuan. This Platinum X/Epic mist-concealed mamba's final transaction price actually reached 9 million radiance dollars. When you glanced at the Platinum X/Epic mist-concealed mamba and said, this mist-concealed mamba shouldn't be worth 9 million radiance dollars. This mist-concealed mamba snake shouldn't be worth 9 million radiance dollars. It's only suitable for attacking the Star Tower and not for actual combat in the wild. When Yu was from the Radiant Moon Palace. Therefore, when she saw this mist-concealed mamba, not only was she not surprised at all, but she also felt that it was not very good. Lin Yuan also understood where the problem that Wen Yu mentioned was. This mist-concealed mamba's fog transformation ability had a huge flaw. Feys that were evolving towards spiritual mutation were almost all adept at energy attacks. Most energy attacks were area of effect damage. Therefore, this mist-concealed mamba could not be afraid of death during the Star Tower duel and attack unscrupulously. It could even use mamba disintegration to take away the opponent. However, in actual combat in the wild, as a poison-type Fey, the mist-concealed mamba did not have any special advantages in other aspects. It was very likely that after fog transformation, the mist-concealed mamba would be seriously injured before it could attack others under the intensive energy attacks. After auctioning off the Platinum X/Epic mist-concealed mamba, the king-class powerhouse who organized the auction had a satisfied expression on his face. Obviously, the price of the Platinum X/Epic Mist-Hidden Mamba snake was beyond the king-level powerhouse's expectations. Next, a few more Fays were auctioned, and most of them were finished Fays. In terms of skills and exclusive skills, they were more or less imperfect. However, due to the rarer Fey species and the fact that it was an auction, everyone was competing against each other. Therefore, the price would be higher. Through the auction of some finished Fays, Lin Yuan had a deeper understanding of the Fey market and the price of Fays. The most direct observation was that Fays were truly too expensive. After auctioning off this item, the King-class king cleared his throat and said, "Next is the fourth last item of this private auction." After speaking, the King-class expert took out another Fey storage box, but it was a bronze Fey storage box. However, since it was being auctioned at this time, it was obvious that the Fays in the bronze Fey storage box were rather rare. When the King-class expert released the Fey in the bronze Fey storage box, Lin Yuan's pupils subconsciously shrank. This bronze Fey was actually a young whale. Although it was only a young whale, its body length had already reached 3 meters. However, judging from the state of the calf, it should not have been long since it was born. When the young whale was summoned by the King Stage Powerhouse, Lin Yuan saw Zhao Xiaochun stand up from her seat and say, "That's right. Senior Shadow Bat King, I heard that one of your team members was seriously injured in the dimensional rift and is now unconscious. I have a few diamond deep blue soul awakening petals. I wonder if I can exchange them for your wave halberd killer whale." Zhao Xiaochun was sitting not far from Lin Yuan. When she stood up, she even winked at Lin Yuan. King-class powerhouses all had their own titles, and Shadow Bat was the title of this King-class powerhouse. The Shadow Bat King said after hearing Zhao Xiaochun's words, "All right, let's do it." After speaking, he stored the bronze wave halberd killer whale back into the Fey storage box. Just as the Shadow Bat King was putting the bronze wave halberd killer whale back into the Fey storage box, Lin Yuan's eyes widened. He subconsciously used True Data to check the wave killer whale's data. Fey name, Wave Orca, Spirit species, Odontocetacean genus, Fey grade, Bronze, 110, Fey type, Water, Fey quality, Flawless skills, Halberd strike, quickly charge towards the target, using the halberd on your back to cut the target in half. Resonant whale sound, the high-frequency whale sound vibrates the water waves. While causing damage to the target, it also causes a certain degree of mental interference. Exclusive skill Frownyface Surging Tide Elegy, connects all water-type lifeforms within the water region. If other water-type lifeforms are willing, it can absorb all of the energy within the connected water-type lifeforms. When he saw the Wave Orca killer whale's exclusive skill, he was shocked. This bronze wave halberd killer whale was the main axis of a Fey combat system. The other water-type Feys could coordinate well with the Wave Orca killer whale in battle. The Wave Orca killer whale's Surging Tide Elegy was equivalent to integrating the power of all the water-type Feys present. This wave halberd killer whale was only at the bronze rank. If it was properly nurtured, it would undergo several metamorphoses. If this wave halberd killer whale could evolve into a fantasy breed, it would definitely be a terrifying existence. At that moment, Fang Duo spoke in a suppressed voice. "Zhao Xiaochun, back then, Boss Long Tao told you to bid first. If you couldn't buy it, you could exchange it with the Diamond Stage Deep Blue Soul Awakening Petal. Why are you so high profile?" Zhao Xiaochun rolled her eyes at Fang Duo. "This is called preventing undue delay from bringing trouble. The sea is a forbidden area. Do you think it's that easy to get a newborn wave orca from the sea?" Fang Duo was rendered speechless by Zhao Xiaochun's retort. "In any case, I have completed this private auctions mission. Boss Fifth Fei will also be settled." Lin Yuan did not expect that Zhao Xiaochun had not bought this bronze wave halberd killer whale for him, but Long Tao. Long Tao's Sea King Chalk Azure Dragon was still fresh in Lin Yuan's memory. Long Tao was sequence 3 of the Radiance 100, and his title of Overflowing Sea was because of his signature Fei, the Sea King Chalk Mosasaurus. Now that Long Tao had this wave halberd killer whale, his signature Fei would probably become this wave halberd killer whale after nurturing it. The wave killer whale would also become the core of Long Tao and even the Dragon Gate Guild Club's team. After the auction of the wave killer whale, it's finally time for tonight's event. They were also the 3 source-type items that Lin Yuan was most looking forward to. The Shadow Bat King took a box and slowly opened it. The third-to-last auction item, which is also the first source-type item tonight, is in this box. Lin Yuan saw that there was a transparent amber-colored crystal in the box. This transparent amber-colored crystal was in the shape of a button. Lin Yuan felt that this first source-type life form looked really strange. However, when he used true data to check this amber button-shaped source-type life form, his expression immediately became a little playful. The expression on his face immediately became a little playful. Baidu read the latest chapter of the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 214. When Lin Yuan used true data to check this source-type item, he immediately decided to bid for it. No matter what, he had to bid for this source-type item. This was because this amber button-shaped source-type lifeform was exactly what he was currently dreaming of. If this amber button-shaped source-type item was properly nurtured, it would not only be able to protect itself, but it would also be able to protect itself. At the same time, it could also control an attack. It was just that the contract conditions for this source-type item were a little too harsh. It was so harsh that it would make almost everyone flinch. When a source-type item was auctioned, a creation master would be asked to appraise it on the spot. It would be up to the creation master to judge the contract conditions needed for this source-type item. Even an advanced creation master could not accurately judge the specific role and ability of a source-type item. This was because source-type items were simply too strange, and many of them were still unique so far. Apart from the source-type items that the Radiance Federation had experimented and announced, people would know their abilities. As for the other source-type items, they still needed to be discovered by the contractors themselves. The real reason why source-type items were so sought after was that they would not be affected by spirit chi professionals' talents. Source-type items themselves did not have any divisions. As long as they could meet the contract conditions, they could contract source-type items. However, regardless of whether the source-type item was strong or weak, the first condition to contract a source-type item was to be able to meet those harsh requirements. Therefore, under the harsh conditions of this source-type item, no one should be willing to do so. No one should be willing to make a move on this source-type item. The Shadow Bat King had a smile on his face and was obviously in a good mood. The purpose of the King-class expert squad that the Shadow Bat King was in organized this auction was to integrate resources. This time, they took out almost all the spiritual materials and phase that were useless to the squad members for auction. The prices of these spiritual materials and phase had obviously met the Shadow Bat King's psychological expectations. In fact, these were not the reasons for the Shadow Bat King's smile. The reason why the Shadow Bat King was so happy was that the Wave Halberd Killer Whale had been exchanged for the Diamond Deep Blue Soul Awakening Petal. When the King-class expert squad that the Shadow Bat King was in had been exploring the Class 3-dimensional rift, one of the King-class members had been seriously injured mentally and had been in a coma. He had not woken up yet. The injured King-class member was the team's healing-type spirit chi professional. The integration of resources this time was because 2 King-class members had comprehended a willpower rune in the Class 3-dimensional rift and needed 2 high-quality bronze phase. On the other hand, it was to save the healing-type spirit chi professionals who had suffered mental damage. There were actually quite a number of phase that could heal mental injuries, just like when Lin Yuan had been unconscious. The contracted clear pond carp of the Dr. Anti Zhang had found had the ability to soothe the mind. However, a king-class expert's mental injury wasn't so easily healed. Even some king-class healing-type spirit chi professionals might not be able to do anything if they didn't have phase abilities or exclusive skills that were adept at healing injured minds. However, if he wanted to find a king-class healing-type spirit chi professional who was adept at healing mental injuries, the price he would have to pay was not small. As for the diamond rank deep blue soul awakening petal, it could directly awaken the spirit. Life-saving items like the diamond soul awakening blue were probably even rarer than source-type items. Now that a bronze wave halberd killer whale had been traded for the diamond soul awakening blue's petals, it was obviously an extremely good deal. It wasn't that the bronze wave halberd killer whale's value was inferior to the diamond soul awakening blue's petals. In fact, a bronze wave halberd killer whale was even rarer than this spiritual ingredient that could awaken a king-class expert's injured mind. This was because the ocean had become a forbidden area after the spirit chi awakening. The king-class expert squad that the Shadow Bat King was in had been able to capture this newborn bronze wave halberd killer whale due to luck. While the wave halberd killer whale's mother was fighting with a group of sharks in the offshore waters, the king-class expert squad that the Shadow Bat King was in had seized the opportunity to capture this newborn wave halberd killer whale. Bartering was to exchange an item or fey that one didn't need for an item or fey that one needed. As long as the price was the same, both sides would profit no matter what the transaction was. At that moment, the middle-aged woman, who had been standing beside the Shadow Bat King without saying a word, walked close to him and said, "We'll directly display all 3 source-type items and then auction them separately. Hurry up and end it so that we can go back and use the Soul Awakening Blue's petals to awaken Shanshan." The Shadow Bat King nodded and said to the people sitting in the VIP area waiting for the auction, "There are still 3 items left for tonight's auction. There are 3 auction items left in tonight's auction. They are all source-type items. I've decided to display the remaining 3 source-type items together and auction them separately." After saying that, the Shadow Bat King took out 2 brocade boxes that weren't considered big and opened them. The moment the 3rd brocade box was opened, the mother of Bloodbath's strange but unusually pleasant voice rang in Lin Yuan's ears. "Lin Yuan, help me bid for the source-type item in the 3rd box, and I'll owe you a favor." Lin Yuan could hear a kind of urgency and fanaticism in the mother of Bloodbath's voice. However, there was an unusually solemn tone in its words. The urgency and fanaticism were directed at the blood-red, fist-sized egg-shaped object in the 3rd brocade box. It was solemn because of its promise to Lin Yuan. As Lin Yuan's path protector, the mother of Bloodbath would only protect his safety at critical moments. It was not obliged to complete any request that Lin Yuan made. Now that the mother of Bloodbath was talking about a favor, it proved that Lin Yuan could ask the mother of Bloodbath once. As a suzerain/myth-I expert, the mother of Bloodbath owed him a favor. Such a benefit could not be said to be small. Lin Yuan used true data to check this blood-red, egg-shaped source-type item and found that it was really a source-type life-form egg. There was majestic blood energy in the egg, and in the center of the eggshell was a young life-form whose shape could not yet be seen. This young life-form was slowly absorbing the blood energy in the egg. Under true data, Lin Yuan found that this source-type lifeform's name was Deep Sea Blood Mosquito. Lin Yuan was a little curious. What did the mother of Bloodbath want such a source-type lifeform for? Fays could not contract source-type lifeforms like humans. Fays could only rely on themselves. The mother of Bloodbath's gaze was now focused on the blood-red, egg-shaped source-type lifeform in the 3rd brocade box. Perhaps sensing Lin Yuan's puzzled gaze, the mother of Bloodbath whispered in his ear, "I've been stuck at the peak of myth-I for a long time. I've been stuck at the peak of myth-I for a long time. This source-type item has majestic blood energy. If I can completely refine and absorb this blood energy, I'll have a trump card to break through to myth 2. If I advance to Myth 2, I'll be able to transform into a human. Baidu read the latest chapter in the Beast Evolution Merchant Claw Book House for free. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.